15 seconds in, no dropped frames. I got a bit rate that is going. So hello everybody. There's the signal that I'm live at. It does, the bit rate is dropping kind of rapidly here. Let me see if it, political call.
Call from political call.
Yeah, no thanks. Anyhow, hey Debbie, hey Sharon.
Call from political
I've
call.
got some sweet Afghani delicious that I've compressed into this bottle cap with some parchment paper, and I've heated my plates up hotter than I've ever heated them before. So I'm gonna try a couple different things today and just see if I get what kind of return I get. The sweet Afghani delicious did not give me a good return the last time I did it, and the oil wasn't that. It wasn't easy to work with either. But I want to do a nice amount instead of just one bud and see what kind of a return we can get. Hey, Jamie, Debbie, Sharon, Kat, Mr. Johnson, Billy, and Jamie. Hello, everybody. So I've got my paper here. We're just going to put it on there. I'm all heated up and I'm ready to go. I'm just going to put this. I'm going to pull this out of the bottle cap carefully. And then, just so you guys can see what it does, I resin over there. Take this and open it, and then we have, hopefully, a disc. We'll take that disc, compact it down, and we'll put it on our page here. Okay, and we want that right in the middle. We want that to press right in the middle. Okay, and we're gonna lock our plates down here, and I'll go ahead and I'm just gonna sight this in. Yeah, it looks okay. I think we're okay. Okay, we're going to start putting the pressure on. Remember, this is hotter than I've ever done it before. We're already at a ton. I'm expecting to see some oil any second. 2 tons. 3 tons. Still not seeing anything. 5 tons of pressure. We're at 6 tons, 7 tons. There we go. Finally seeing some oil there. Oh, I was getting a little worried there. All the way up to 7 tons. You can see the bow on that. There's a lot of tension on there. So, there's a little bit of oil happening. I'm going to try to bring you guys in so you guys can get a better view of this. Go. You guys can see the oil as it comes off that plate. You can see it bubbling up there. It's actually ripped. It looks like it's ripped through the plate. It's on the other side for some reason. Huh. That's weird. Okay, we're just gonna let that. I've got these plates really hot. Oh, there's a lot of oil coming out on the back too, so that's good. Hopefully this will come out nice. Leave it in there for a little bit longer. There's a lot of pressure on those plates. Everything seems lined up. The plates are fairly well lined up. They could be adjusted a little bit, but they're fairly straight. Yeah, let me move my microphone here a little bit. You might be able to hear me a little bit better as I angle these microphones towards me. Okay. Let me see what I'm looking at here. And what's coming out over here on the other side. So I got inspired to do this. I was watching Bubble Man. If you guys want to check out Bubble Man's World on YouTube, he does this sort of thing. He's got a really nice press, and he's doing like large presses. He did a half pound and throughout like 6 presses or something. So, like 2-ounce presses or something. 1 ounce, 2-ounce presses. And he's also using a much yieldier strain than what I'm using. Okay, I think we're good here. Let's go ahead and see how we did. Okay. Pull this off. And, let's come over here and see what we came up with, okay? Before I set this down, I forgot to get a piece of paper down on my desk to work with, a nice big piece I like, and that will last me for quite some time to work with there. Okay, great. Put that over there, move this over here. All right, now this page obviously split. Let's see what's on the inside. Okay, it split where the bud was, so that's okay. That's the return. Got some dabs in there for sure. This is what's left of the puck. I really don't see a need to press this a second time. I think that would be more like a waste of my time to even try it. We pretty much got it. I don't see a lot of oil. There's a little bit of shine on there, but not enough for me to justify my time to really get in there and do a second press on this. So I'm just going to throw that in my puck jar, my used puck jar. Oops. Almost. All right, there it goes. And now we can get the dabber on here and see if it's going to come off the page. I'm really not thinking it will without some cold. I'd pre-record this. I wouldn't be live. And I would put my stop motion filter on my camera, the mode on stop motion, and I would film this and then I'd play it back for you, and it would only take 15 seconds of video time. But we are in real time here, so you guys are going to stick with me through this whole process. And as the room gets cooler, and I can turn the AC towards me, it will make this even easier. As the room gets cooler, this gets a little easier. No, we've got the AC on nice and cold. Let me just direct the AC in my direction. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go get a cold plate out of the freezer. That's going to help speed this up. Okay, so I've got this ice pack, and we'll just take this ice pack and we'll put this on top of it for a second, and that'll make this stuff more brittle, and it'll allow it to come right off the page a lot easier once it's cooled down like this. You just kind of rub it on there like this so it all makes contact, and it should stay like that for a few minutes. Once the oil retains the temperature, oil has a tendency to retain the temperature that you expose it to for a few minutes. So that'll make this part a lot easier. You can see now it's coming right off. Now if you leave it on the cold plate, it can get so brittle that it'll shatter, and it'll get really messy, man. It'll start getting on your fingers, and as soon as it touches your finger, it starts melting onto your finger or any other surface that's room temperature. So you want to make sure you keep it just the right amount of cold, but not too cold so that it starts breaking up like this, breaking up and shattering in a million different places. So now this has lost its cold, so it's time to put it back on the cold plate again and just chill it out again. You could just do one section at a time if you want. You know, we'll just work this corner here, and then we'll chill out the rest. You know, this should come right off because it's nice and cold. Okay, now we'll do another section here. There we go. That is rolling right off the page. Those of you guys who were able to see the Ron Placone interview today on Facebook, thank you for joining us on that. I am so sorry we were not able to broadcast that on Restream. We had a technical problem, and you know, that technical problem probably fixed itself right when I started broadcasting on Facebook, because when I was done with the interview, I went back and checked Restream and it was working fine. I was like, son of a gun. But you know, it wasn't a total disaster, and it was a great interview, and I'm gonna play that interview for you guys on a stream and re-record it, and it'll be just like watching it live. And that'll be, you know, I was thinking maybe I wanted to do it today, you know, because a lot of people are waiting for that interview. So I might just do that today after this video. I just wanted some rosin, man. It was either make rosin or do the Ron Placone thing. I'm like, I think I'm gonna make some rosin. So this is working nice. It's just it's a little tedious. This is the most tedious part of the process. But you know, anytime anything involving cannabis gets tedious, I just remember what I'm doing and what the end result is going to be and how worth it is. Now, a lot came out on the back side of this, so I have to flip it because the page snapped. So I'm going to end up collecting a lot more from this side now, which is great news. Great news. Yeah, it's starting to get a nice little amount on the dabber here, a few dabs, which nowhere near the yield we get when we do the True Black. Nowhere near, and that stuff is a year old, but it's just, it's such a high yielder. Anytime you get stuck on the page, just put it right back on your ice, and then be quick. Snap it off. It'll snap right off. Don't panic when that happens. But you want to be careful because there's particles on this one. It's ripped. So I want to be careful not to get those particles of parchment paper in my dabs. So that's pretty good. There's a little bit right there. I want to kind of try to get that if I could. Not really. It's in a really bad spot. I'm not even going to fuck with it. Up, 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 up. Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. There you go. There you go. Don't panic. All right, so we're going to throw this away because I'm just going to be making a mess out of it. But that's what happened. I don't know why. Maybe my plates need to be cleaned, and that might solve the rip problem. So I'll take some alcohol. That's one thing I didn't do before I started. But this is my yield right here. Got a few dabs here, which is great. And I'm going to go ahead and start putting this in one of these containers here. see. Sweet Afghani delicious. That is. Let me go get a new container. These are all spoken for. I might have one back here. Sweet Afghani delicious. Sweet Afghani delicious. Great. Great. So I found a brand new container right here, and it's going to be this green, blue, and white one. Kind of like sky and grass. Kind of looks like the earth. Kind of looks like the earth colors. I like it. And we'll take this, and I just take it, I get it down in there, and I just wipe it off on the edge to get it inside there like that. Not a lot, man. Not a lot. In fact, there's a fair amount still on the dabber, and I'm thinking I'm just going to dab this stuff, man. I know it's going to be crackly, but I really want to do a dab. Now, it's not that I'm out of dabs. I still have dabs, but I wanted to get something different and new. So, Michael Haskey, wow, where have you been, buddy? I haven't seen you in forever, son. I thought that snag was on my end. Snag. What snag? Huh? Okay, let's go back through the... Wow, okay. Jamie, Stephen, David, good to see you. Gary Schofield. What? Gary Schofield? I know somebody named Gary Schofield, but it couldn't be the same guy. Stephen Pruchniak, hello. Coast Chillin', hey. Kim Jennings, morning, nay. I know it's you, Gary, because you called me babe. Morning, nay. Glad to see you busy and productive. You got a lot of patience, man, Kim Jennings. Hey, Nate, how you been? Hey, Dustin, good. John and Daphne Holland, say what, son? Ron Ruhr, what's up, Ronnie? Jonah, hey. Coast, yo. Hey, nay, sounds a bit better. Oh, here, let me, here, let me put these back on me here. There, it's going to sound even better right now. I'm going to shut up and listen for a minute to John and Daphne. James, what temperature do you normally do? I usually do it at 180. Now I'm at like 210. I went hotter. I'm glad I did. I went hotter because Bubble Man was going hotter on his plate. So I'm like, if Bubble Man's doing it, I'm doing it. Are you open blasting with that butane? What? Oh, no, that's my stand, and that's how I fill up my torch. No, I don't open blast. What's up, Magnum? Hey, Higgins. Bruce Miles, what's up? E.G. Sutton. Thank you for calling in, Bruce Miles. I thought that snag was on my end. Yeah, it was on my end. James, good night, everyone. My son has a football game tomorrow, so I got to get some sleep. Have a great night, everybody, Friday night. All right, James. What's up? Michael. Ashley DeLynn. Hello, Liz King. Big screen. John and Daphne. Wow, this is a different view of the show. This is Doc Holland. Okay, John, I figured it was you. You guys, give me a second here. I'm gonna level out the view here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so the camera's in a different spot, but still me. I'm still here. Same guy. Okay, so hey Enoch, what's up? I'm scratching my shin. I shouldn't. I should just put trendy paint oil on it. Triage oil. Just put the oil. It puts the lotion on its skin, or it gets the hose again. I don't want the hose. I don't want the hose. Pass the lotion down. Pass down the lotion. Oh, it feels good immediately. And it doesn't itch anymore. Wow. Let me tell you something. I was about to go live with Ron Placone. I didn't have him in the Zoom chat yet. I was waiting. It was close. There was 5 minutes before the show was going to start. And I was stressed out massively because Restream wasn't working and I wasn't going to be able to broadcast the show normally. So I was flipping out already. And then all of a sudden, I started getting an electric shock tingle right here in my hand. And this one was so bad that I screamed out in pain. It was hurting me so bad. And yes, it does, Gary. And I put the lotion on its skin right there on my hand where it hurt. And the shock, it didn't go away. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, I put it on there and I was like, ow, ow, it hurts so bad. Oh my God, what am I going to do, man? I grabbed the pain oil, I rubbed it in again, and I kind of forgot about it for a second. And then it was gone. And it took like 3 minutes. But that electric shock pain went away and I was able to do that show and I didn't have any, and I'd never had an electric shock tingle pain in my hand before. You know, I'm getting these weird nerve things now all over my body. And it is, it's scary going through this, you know, getting old, you know, what a drag it is getting old. Wow, 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 wow. Things are different today. I hear every mother say, Mommy needs a little dab to get her through. 'Cause her kids are being brats, and she can't take more of that. She goes running for the shelter of Nay's garden, and they swelter in the dying heat of day while they're smoking with trendy Nay. Ba-na-now, 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 ba-na-now. Trendies, please, outside the door. They dab some more. What a drag it is running out of dabs. Don't listen to me. I suck. Why am I even doing that? Unreal, pal. Nobody even does it like that anymore. You know that. Nobody does it like this anymore, pal. Unreal. Unreal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heat up and get ready to heat and serve a dab that I just made on my press. Very excited. I'm thinking about switching over to True Black, man, just to have those big returns again, you know? That Sweet Afghani Delicious, it puts out nothing, man. There's just a very low return. And what's crazy is it just seems so sticky and oily, but it really is a low percentage. It is a low percentage. And that's why when you smoke it, it doesn't last. You know, it gets you really high really fast and then it wears off fast because it's just not a potent strain. And that shows when you're trying to get oil out of it and you're not getting a lot of oil. They're 100% relatable to each other. The more oil, the higher you're going to get. All right, look at that. It's orange, bright orange. I love it. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabisism tis for all. Cheers, everybody. It is top of the hour, about 5 minutes late. I want to give a shout out to Ron Placone. A giant thank you for him doing the show earlier today. Thank you, Ron. This first dab of the show is for you, homie. Cheers, guys. Wonder how big that it was. It was so smooth, I didn't even feel it. Oh, but relaxing and it tastes like chocolate. Chocolat. That's good, man. Hey, Sharon, Enoch, Kat, Kip, John. Oh, man, Nate, I'm scared for you. This stuff is amazing. It puts lotion on the skin, the power of triage oil. You're scared for me? Fuck. It's just old age, but you know what? I got triage oil. I'm not worried about it. I got something to help me for the rest of my life. And you all have the knowledge how to help yourselves. And that's so important. So, wow, that dab was like not... The Sweet Afghani Delicious has always been like that. I smoke it now. I do a dab of it and I'm like relaxed. Isn't that weird? It like reversed the effect of it on me. I mean, it is very relaxing. I almost don't even feel like talking right now, but I'm kind of forcing myself to. You know, I'm that relaxed. I could just go lay down and go right to sleep. Now, I did take a nap today in the middle of the day. I was emotionally drained after that Ron Placone interview. I was emotionally drained because of trying to set it up before the show started. You know, I should just be able to come down, sit in front of my chair and hit start. But I spent 2 hours trying to work out a way to get that show to you guys. The video isn't synced with your voice at the moment. Oh, here, hold on. I think I might be able to fix that. Thank you for telling me. I was unsyncing it for Ron Placone because Ron's voice and my voice were off so bad. I do have some adjustments. It's so stupid though. It only lets you adjust one direction. Why can't you what if the audio is ahead of the video or the video is ahead of the audio? Why can't you add time or subtract time from the audio? Isn't that stupid? Just, you know, it's like, come on, man. Are you guys that fucking stupid? Fuck. Yeah, I had it on a 1 second delay. I'm sorry, guys. It should be fine now. I had to delay the audio 1 second just to try to get it to look almost normal on that interview. And I didn't know what you guys were seeing. I do have the interview right here. And now that we're broadcasting to all channels, hey, man, I have no problem sitting here for 2 hours doing this interview with you guys. So many of you did not see it. Whoa, that's not the interview. Whoa, that's not the interview at all. That's weird. Where did the interview go? You guys, give me a second. Something really weird just happened on my computer. Dude, when I saved that... Okay, I know how to do this. I found it before I can find it again. Right? Is it open still? No, I closed it. Okay, I can figure this out. Okay, don't panic. I panic a lot. Don't panic. Oh, shit. I think it's right there. 6/11. That says 2017. It says 2020. 9/11. There it is. Huh. I fucking found it. Configurations. I found it. I'm so happy. Okay, now you guys, what's exciting about this is it's a perfect recording of the video. It's not streaming off of the internet. So I'm not like playing you a YouTube video. I'm literally streaming it right from my... Here, let's go here. Beautiful, man. Look at that. You guys like that? You guys like that? Does it feel good? Does that feel good? Does it feel good? You guys ready for this interview? Press number 3 if you're ready to see this interview with me as I get a dab ready. Press number 3 if you're ready to see this interview with me as I get a dab ready. Press number 3, guys, if you want to see this video, this interview with Ron Placone. Press number 3. John and Daphne Holland, thank you. David C. Baker Jr., thank you. David, your order for your shirt never came through. Kat Stoops, fantastic. Justin Barnes, 3. Jonah Lee, 3. Sharon Ann, 3. Enoch, 3. Okay, we're going to watch this video. We're going to get high. Let me know if the sound is okay, guys. I'll try to turn it up nice and loud, okay? Because I'm going to play it over my microphone. That's the one thing, you won't have the sound the same. unless I switch it over, but then I won't be able to interject and shit. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabism is for all. Cheers, everybody. This is going to be a great dab. I'm gonna hit it and quit. I'm gonna hit it and quit. I'm gonna hit it and quit. Hit it and quit. I said, I said, hit it and quit. Now that was a dab for the decades. Configuration, so exciting. All these technical. Let's see. Okay, it says we're four. I'm gonna do my Ron Placone impersonation here. Okay, you know I'm the kind of guy who likes to make sure that things are going right. At the beginning of my show, I want to get some feedback. I want to see if we're live on YouTube. I'm trying to do my best John Wayne because the man's got some swagger. I don't know how you pull it off, bro. But it's like partner, we got it going on. I've got it going. I don't know where you get that from. You're gonna have to tell me. But anyway. I hope we are live on Facebook, everybody. Welcome to Nate's Garden. I have got the one and only, once again, Ron Placone, stand-up comic and internet extraordinaire. The guy is everywhere, and I can't keep up with him. And I like making him laugh, and he makes me laugh constantly. And I promise you, he's going to make you laugh, too. You got to check him out on his show, Get Your News On with Ron on YouTube. He's at Twitter, at Ron Placone, and his website is ronplacone.com. Ron, is there any other promotional stuff you would like to add? Like maybe, if you want to mention the cartoon or anything that you've got going on.
Sure, yeah. You can find, everything's at my website, ronplacone.com. That's all things Ron Placone, where you can find my YouTube show, Get Your News On with Ron, my webcomic, Lucy and Ron, which is about myself and my cat Lucy, who's taking a nap on her cat tree over there. And yeah, I normally would say, and I hope to see you on the road, but right now that is not happening. But once it's safe to get back out there, we'll be back out there, and of course, one day I will post 4 days again. So
fantastic. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and just take a moment to try to pull up the chat from Facebook, so we'll be able to get a little bit of feedback from people. It's a little weird, guys, just so you know, I was not able to stream normally, so we're going straight to Facebook today to only one channel, but it seems to be working fine. Let me know if there's any technical issues in the chat. As of right now, I am not seeing it, but it says we're live, so just let me make sure we are live. Let me just make sure we're live on Facebook before we have some problems here. Facebook, there we are, interview, there it is, okay, we are live, fantastic. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, I like to see the evidence that we're live.
No, that is what I do, and yeah, I am one of those, I gotta wait until I see it, because, YouTube in particular, I actually don't go on Facebook anymore. I've narrowed it down, I just do Periscope, but, YouTube is always just doing something that gives us all headaches, whether it's turning it up to 11 with mid-roll ads without telling anybody, which they did that recently, or they'll just randomly take your stream off public and you have to notice it and fix it, or they'll just randomly disable your chat. Just all these things that makes the creator's life a little more of a headache. So I'm always adding something to my morning checklist of make sure all of this is happening, because it might just randomly not happen someday for no reason.
And the really frustrating thing about that for people like Ron and myself, other people who do this, is when we discuss the issues, the technical issues that we're having, and we're trying to get our audiences to feel our pain and our suffering and the amount of time and hurt that we have to deal with to make these shows work, we can't. It's impossible.
And we understand that you just don't care. We know. But let me tell you, Ron, as a fellow podcaster, I do care, and I feel your pain. And I'm just going to take a moment. I'm just going to pontificate here for a second. I'm going to let everybody know what just happened to me to get this show going. I was all ready last night. I was so excited. We had it all going. I had everything working perfectly. And my computer had an issue, and I had to reboot it. When I rebooted the computer, Windows 10 forced an update. When it did the update, all of my software stopped working. I've had to, for the last 2 hours, struggle just to get cameras up and things going again, and it's not the way it's supposed to be, and I couldn't get Restream back. And I know none of you care about it, but I just wanted to tell you anyway, because this is our life, man. This is what we're dealing with.
I think we can all relate a little bit, even non-podcasters. I'm a Mac guy. We talked about this off mic. I'm a Mac guy, so I can't relate to Windows 10, but I certainly can relate to those updates. And I had to do a big update recently, and I found out that a lot of my podcast software stopped working, which that was a big thing. And then the other big thing for me was my Final Draft just stopped working. Like I couldn't open Final. So all my scripts that were saved in Final Draft, I'm like, oh, are they all just gone? Some of them I exported to PDF, so they were fine. But some of them I hadn't, so I'm just still working on them or whatever. And I was just like, oh wow, did I just lose 4 or 5 scripts worth of stuff?
Don't these Ron? Don't these updates feel like another loss of control? I mean, they do to me. I feel like it's just one more part of our lives that corporations have decided to just take away from us.
Yeah, it's just, I think I don't know if it's so much a loss of control as it's just it ends up just being a money grab on their part. Just going on the Final Draft portion, I had to update my Final Draft, and I had to drop $80 to do so, and I had to and eventually you just have to get a new machine. You keep updating your phone, eventually you just have to get a new one. You keep updating your Mac, eventually you just have to get a new one. I think they know that they've made products that are really built to last and will stand the test of time. So they're like, well, but if you have to update it all the time and your stuff's out of date, well, eventually you'll have to replace it. So
Happy 420, everybody, cheers.
I think the day that the person invented the word planned obsolescence, that day, they're like, what? There's got to be a name for this. What should we call it when corporations decide to make jeans wear out within a year of buying them? Let's call that planned obsolescence. Yeah, that's a great idea. As soon as they came up with that word, they should have been like, wait a minute. But they didn't.
We found a real fancy way to say being asshole.
Wow. That does sum it up. That sums it up really well.
Greedy assholes.
And everybody's in on it now. Everything is obsolete. Even our government.
Happy 420, everybody.
Crumbling
cheers.
right before our eyes.
Big time.
Oh my goodness. So I have got some prepared questions here for you.
Where's
I'm
my
just gonna get right
lighter?
into it. While I take a hit off my bong.
I want to smoke.
Where's
my lighter?
I gotta tell you,
I want to smoke.
I like being the guy that does this on my show. And I like that you guys are okay with it. I like that you guys are like, yeah, go ahead, man. Or we're cool with it.
Yeah, man.
So while I hit this, I'm gonna ask you, why do you personally use cannabis, and in what ways? Cheers.
Okay, sure. That's well, let's see. I guess the first time I tried cannabis was in the 8th grade. And at first I didn't like it. I thought it made me feel really lazy. Because I didn't want to get off the couch, and I didn't like that feeling. I took more to drinking when I was younger. I enjoyed, the first time I got drunk was shortly before. 7th grade was I younger than that? We'll go with 7th grade because it's not really all that important. But 7th grade, I got drunk for the first time.
But it's a good thing alcohol wasn't a gateway drug, right?
Right, no kidding.
Right.
And in 8th grade, I got high for the first time, and I really liked getting drunk, but I didn't like getting stoned as much. Now I'm the opposite. I like getting stoned a lot better. But when I was a kid, I didn't connect with it as much, and then I kind of just, put it off to the side because I just thought I didn't care for it all that much. And then in college, I started smoking a little more, and I started enjoying it. Like at first I didn't enjoy it, and then when I tried it again in college, I enjoyed it. And it just helped me relax, and it helped me. It made me more conversational, so I liked it for that, and so I started using it for that, and I noticed it helped with headaches too, and that pretty much catapulted me into adulthood. And now I don't really use it to focus because I don't feel like I need it to focus. I mean, if I want to use some just to like chill or relax or get a buzz on, I'll use the sativa so I can maintain my focus if I feel like I need to, or if it's like later at night and I just kind of want to, veg out and I'm getting ready for bed, like I'll use an indica or something like that, or a hybrid. So yeah, that's about it, man. I mean, now I just use it as like just a kind of leisure activity for the most part, or I use it for pain, for headaches, and that's how it's been since my 20s. So
when I was
how it'll always be.
When I was in my 20s, I was using alcohol, and I found that cannabis was doing the same thing for me. It was allowing me to hang out with my friends and socialize and do all those things without having to pay for it in the morning with a hangover or worry about getting pulled over by a police officer with alcohol on my breath. Back then they weren't so concerned about cannabis. But it was easier on my body. Come to find out, it's a healthy alternative. And while alcohol is literally tearing your body apart, and cannabis is rebuilding it, and it's helping at a cellular level, it's just it's a good choice over alcohol, definitely.
It definitely is. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I still drink socially, I mean, I like to have a nice whiskey every now and again, and, I'm not a big drinker, but...
That's a little classy, a whiskey.
I'll drink some.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I like whiskey. Well, I don't always get the, I don't always get the good stuff, Nate, but sometimes it's just, whatever's cheapest.
Right.
But no, I mean, I like a nice whiskey ginger every now and again. I like a nice just, whiskey on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, beer. I like beer. I like red wine. So, I mean, I don't dislike drinking, but, I like, I mean, pot is a much easier vice, so to speak, because it just, like you said, you don't get a hangover, and it's, I kind of like. And I find it more relaxing. I don't find there's something about drinking. I find it soothing and I enjoy it, but I don't find it as like stress relieving, comparatively speaking. Like if I'm feeling stressed and I want to de-stress, I would never drink alcohol because that actually makes it worse. Like if I'm having a bad day and like maybe I'm like depressed about something and I'm just feeling really down, I will make the effort to not drink because that'll, it'll kind of make my mood worse. Whereas pot or cannabis will kind of just make me feel better. So.
I love that you just called it cannabis, and you notice that is the only word that I use, and you finally just made that conscious effort in your mind to do it. So just let me give you a moment. I'm just going to tell you why I do it, why I call it cannabis. I found that, I was calling it pot, weed, dope, marijuana, and reefer, and everything else, ganja, 3 years ago or so. And I had like an epiphany, and I started calling it cannabis. And kind of in the journey of calling it cannabis, I finally figured out that the best reason for me to call it cannabis was because it would start a conversation with people. They would say, "Why do you call it cannabis?" And then,
yeah, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, and then no one ever said, "Hey, what kind of pot you got?" or "Smoke your dope with me, bro." And then you said, "Oh, and by the way, did you know that it was banned in 1937 and the word marijuana was created by William Randolph Hearst because he wanted to get it banned because it was in direct competition with his pay." No, we called it pot and weed. We're gonna roll a doobie and we're gonna get high and we're gonna play some video games or do this. And so when you call it cannabis, it kind of forces people into that that inquisitive mindset as to, hey, I thought we were cool. Now you sound like a scientist. What gives? And boom, we're talking about it, you know?
Well, I think you're just also giving it kind of the reverence.
Respect?
That it
Oh,
warrants,
well,
you know?
that's
I mean,
number two.
you know,
We're not
and
even, I didn't want to go to that yet, but yeah, you want to drive there, I'm with you. I'm in the passenger seat, brother. Keep going. I'm respecting it.
No, I mean,
I'm respecting it.
You know, and I'm not trying to put it on some pedestal. It's a plant that I enjoy, that you enjoy, that has a lot of benefits, that has a lot of medicinal benefits, that has a lot of societal benefits. And, you know, it's been unfairly demonized for years and years and years. I mean, you made a hint to, you know, all the propaganda from the 30s that I guess kind of started with reefer madness and, you know, led to a Schedule I designation.
It started with
all,
William Randolph Hearst, who helped fund reefer madness.
Right.
That was his vehicle. Yes.
And it was also bogus because it was all just based on the pharmaceutical industry not wanting to make less money off of pain pills and stuff like that. And it was also, there's a lot of racist undertones too, because people were enjoying cannabis a lot in the jazz clubs and the blues clubs where there were a lot of black musicians. So that was another thing that was a big no-no in contemporary America at that time. Black people having fun. We can't have that because we're a very racist place. So, you know, when you look at all the reasons cannabis was demonized, they're all very repulsive, unjust reasons. And we're finally starting to evolve. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's good to call it cannabis, to have an adult conversation about it.
I don't know. Are we
we're still not there yet.
I was gonna say, are we evolving? Are we evolving, or are we? It's almost like we almost got there, and now we're starting to go back towards black market. You know.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I don't know. More and more states by the day are more open to legalization. I mean, I think it's going to be on the ballot in Montana, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So I think it's fair to say we're evolving on it. I mean, is it like one societal trend upward? Of course not. There's some deviation from it, but I say overall we're finally making some long,
let me give. I know that I am a glass half empty kind of guy, and you complete me, brother. Together we have a full glass, you know. And with your glass half full attitude, when I see the slow rate of progress that cannabis is making, I think in my mind that society or government is literally going to collapse before we get to that point with cannabis. In other words, let's say the government goes down in 5 or 10 years. Let's say it breaks down. We're all still around, but the climate's getting hotter. There's more fires and people are starting to not care. And let's say at that point, there's no law regarding cannabis because there's no more laws. So at that point, all of the work and all of the blood, sweat, and tears we put in to try to legalize, it kind of seems almost pointless if that's what's going to happen. But I don't know what's going to happen. Like we were talking about on your live stream the other day, and that was a fantastic stream. But that podcast you had was fantastic. Do you remember the gentleman's name? That is the climate guy that came in and was talking about.
Peter Kamas.
Yes, and everybody should go over to Ron's channel on YouTube and go watch that interview. He's got, I believe, that you pulled out of it, and the full interview as well, right? Right? And he's talking about specific
and there's more excerpts. There's more excerpts coming up. I mean, I know I think, was it you that asked the question about Guy McPherson?
Yes. Yeah, I brought up Guy McPherson. I asked a couple questions, and Ron, I covered it on my live stream. I covered your podcast on my live stream, and I was so proud of myself because I was like, Ron, there's this whole joke, man, around that podcast that I don't even think you're aware of. So when you started, you brought him on, and you said, okay, so I got this climate guy coming on. Now, please don't tell me that it's all gloom and doom and that the world's coming to an end. That was the way you started it. Now, I was outside walking this guy for about 15 minutes, and I missed that.
So
you talking about the triage oil, and I missed you saying that. I came in and I was like, because I was walking him and I was waiting for him to do his stuff. So because my phone was beeping saying Ron Placone's live on YouTube. I'm like, I gotta get in there. I gotta go see a podcast. I get in here. I get you on the big screen and I'm all excited. I'm like, Ron Placone is live. And he's got this guy, and they're talking, and I'm gonna do a super chat, right? And it's all narcissist. I'm just thinking about me. And in my ear, I hear him say something about climate, and I'm like, I perk up, and my posture straightens, and I go, oh, it's a climate guy. This is my specialty. I'm like, la 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 la. I'm like, I know all. So I sit there, because I'm a bitch, and I sat there and I listened. And I waited for him to say something, and I was like, and I was like, la 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 la, and I shot that one off, and I was like, oh no, it's more gloomier than that, la 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 la, and I shot that off, and I was like, snarky, 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 and you read them, and you're so good, Ron. You edited out my negativity in my post that I put in there. I said something like, this guy says blah blah blah. You didn't say that. You reworded it. You edited it for me on the fly, brother. It was so masterful. You are my guru of being nice and being polite to people and knowing how to do things right. And I'm so thankful for that. So anyhow, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to teach Ron Placone about climate. I'm going to show him we don't have a lot of time left and blah, blah, blah. And so then you guys started addressing my chats, and that was really, I was so happy. And he talked like 15 minutes on each question. We talked about Guy McPherson, went on. It was a great podcast. All of you need to go watch Ron's. Oh, we're going to do this too. You all need to go watch Ron's podcast with this gentleman.
They're not that big.
I go back, Ron, because I just want to hear what you said about triage oil at the beginning. Right? So I go back to watch it from the beginning because I missed the first 15 minutes, and I'm playing it. And you say,
a few days ago.
Don't tell me anything negative or bad, man, because, it's just, I don't want to hear the bad news. Brother, I apologize. I had no. Bro, go back and watch. You go back and watch. You're gonna have to go back and watch. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh because I came in there like thunderstorms, man. Just like, oh, it was so bad. I felt so guilty. I was like, Ron didn't want to hear that. Why did I do that, man? I should have.
Well, no. Part of it is also kind of like a little bit of inside joke, like just between me and some of my friends and family who are scientists. Like I have a really close friend from growing up who's a marine biologist. My cousin is a biomedical engineer, and sometimes they'll just get these texts from me where I'm just like, "Are we gonna be okay?" They're just like, "Ron's on a thing again." Ron, what did you read this time?
You gotta ask.
What are you gonna tell your viewers? Do they want you to tell them it's gonna be okay? It's just a fun little So that's sort of my thing where it's like whenever I get a climate scientist, I'm like, look, is there a chance we're gonna be all right? Just tell me there's a chance. Are we gonna be okay?
That is what you
said.
That is what you said, man. I couldn't have said it better. That is what you said.
And I mean, the answer is pretty much fairly consistent where they're like, we gotta do something. We gotta do something. So,
I heard something that was horrible, Ron. These scientists had determined that it was 1967. It was the year before I was born. That was the last year that we could have actually stopped the rise in CO2. That we would have had to have started cutting back way back then. It's just...
Anyway, guys,
it's not even.
That's really all I wanted to show you.
Things like that.
But,
go ahead.
What magnification is this? This is ludicrous magnification.
We just have to. And that was actually a really good question you had because I didn't.
Oh.
This is
I
wasn't
like
sure
300 times
when you talked about the CO2 level.
Stupid.
That was you, I think, who asked that question. And
I mentioned Thunderfoot. I mentioned Thunderfoot on YouTube. Ron, you're gonna love that guy. When you check out Thunderfoot, and it's spelled with 2 zeros, and there's another guy. His name is.
Yeah.
It's
tectonic
Thunderfoot,
activity
and
on
it's
Mars died off very quickly because
Just Have a
the planet
Think.
cooled down so
They're both
quickly
YouTube
that
channels,
they crashed
and they're
sticking
both
up,
scientists
and that was the end
from
of
the
tectonic
UK. You're gonna
activity.
love both of them, and I'll tweet their names at
They've been
you,
extinct for
so
billions of
you
years,
look
not
them up. You're
millions.
gonna love them, man. They're
That I believe.
so just they're very thorough people, both of them.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna
One
call
is
it
more.
quits
Okay.
on
One is
this
glass half
because,
full, and one is glass half empty. It's you get both.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I feel you, dude. And
3
yeah,
in the
I think
morning,
it's.
and
Because yeah, I didn't realize we're probably
I can do
not going
many
to see a
things at
drop.
3,
I mean, I knew
almost
we
4 in
weren't
the morning.
gonna.
Chitty
We're not
chat
going to
is one
quote
of them.
stop it. Like that's not going to happen. We all know that. As far as I understand it, our goal is to manage it
You
as
know-
the best we can. And,
you know
and to
the
try to be
tree-
better stewards of
You know
earth.
the whole tree, the billions of trees thing, and there's a few of them. There's different groups planting trees. Thunderfoot said it would be great, but the trees have to grow. Before they are not going to do anything until they get 40 feet tall. He said that's not the solution. It's nice though. It'd be nice to have more trees. It would be
Right.
nice.
Right.
We're not going to
Yeah.
talk about this. I'm going to tell you, we're going to stop. I'm pulling the reins out. We're not going to talk about this because it is so depressing. We're going to move on. I do this on my channel all the time. I say, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to move on. So, let's get back to cannabis. What's the most memorable moment you ever had with cannabis in your life?
Probably getting the first time I got high with my mom.
That's cool.
I do. I do an entire bit about it in my act because I tell this story, and it'll probably be on my next album. Whenever that's able to happen, I don't know when stand-up albums are going to come back.
Can you give us a
I was supposed to
taste?
have one out this year.
Just a taste. Give us a taste. Just a little taste.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, you've probably heard me do it before because I mean, I've done it on some of the Zoom shows.
You using cannabis with your mom? I don't remember that one, brother.
Well, it's funny. I tried to talk about it on stage once, and it just didn't connect at all. And so I just sort of shelved it, never really thought about it.
Well, you've
And
come
then
to the
one
right
day-
place to discuss cannabis, my friend. Go
Right.
on.
Well,
Go on.
It actually started at
Cheers, Ice. What's up, son?
on the Jimmy Dore show. We did a segment about Tom Petty, like when he died.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of covered it, and I mentioned, I have a lot of great Tom Petty memories, and I was like, the first time I ever got high with my mom was at a Tom Petty show, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "You got high with your parents?" I'm like, "Well, my mom, yeah," and I told this story, and him and Steph were just getting a big kick out of it, and so then I thought I should bring it back to the stage again and see if it works, and it's been a bit ever since, but yeah, I got stoned with my mom at a Tom Petty show, and then
So funny.
Just and then it's funny because, I gave her, she basically caught myself and my girlfriend at the time. This was a long time ago. It's an ex-girlfriend now, but we had these pot cookies that she had in her purse, and my mom caught us with them thinking they were regular cookies. And she's like, "Oh, did you bring enough cookies for everyone? I want one." And we had to play it off. We were like, "Oh no, they're from her lunch. She forgot that they were in her purse and they were melted, so we had to eat them, And then I decided, because the cookies started kicking in, that I was just going to tell my mom the truth. So I told my mom that they were pot cookies, and she got real excited and she wanted one, which was not the response I was expecting. And they were powerful cookies because we made them with BC Bud. But she just took this cookie and just wolfed down the whole thing, and
like a
it
pro.
was pretty funny.
Like she knew it was up.
Yeah. Which I mean, I came to find out she did, and then
So funny.
And then later, it was kind of funny. My mom came to Los Angeles. This was years later. This was like a year or two ago. She came to Los Angeles with all of her sisters. I forget what the reason was. It was something having to do with my sister, but anyway, it was like my mom and all my aunts. So it was like my mom and all of her sisters, and they met me for dinner. And I think for pretty much all of them except for my mom and one of her older sisters, the rest of them were seeing California for the first time, I'm pretty sure. So I show up to this like cafe, and I wanted to give them like a total SoCal experience. So I got this one of those disposable vape pens for them. This was pre-COVID, so passing around a vape was still something we could do as a world.
Right.
But so I have this disposable vape, and I hand it, I think, to my one aunt, and I'm like, hey, welcome to SoCal, and I give her this vape, and they're all like, oh my God, like they're looking around, and I'm like, it's fine here, everybody does it.
Ooh.
Our server was probably just doing it in the back, and so I give them this vape, and it was kind of funny because I had to go out of town. I think I was actually doing a show with Jimmy, so I had to like fly out that morning. So I got to hang out with them for a night, see them for dinner, then I had to leave town. So I get a text from my mom like the next day, and she goes, "We have not tried the vape yet, but we." So I just picture my mom and all of her sisters just looking at this vape, going, "Oh, who should try it first? Are we allowed to feed it after midnight?" I just picture them being so overwhelmed by this vape. And then a couple days later, my mom texts me again, and she goes, "The vape has landed safely." So she brought it home to Pennsylvania with her, which then I felt like, you know what I felt like? You know how there's, how sometimes you do something for a younger sibling or like a younger family member or friend, and they take it out of context. Like, look, I got you this beer to enjoy here, not to party with your friends. This is not, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, that vape was for you to enjoy in Southern California, not take to Pennsylvania with you. But she did. So then I thought maybe the whole time, maybe my mom was just bullshitting her sister so that she could keep it for herself.
Right.
Like maybe they were all like, "Should we try it?" My mom was like, "Oh no, this is really potent shit. This isn't like the stuff in the 70s. You better let me take care of this.
I'll dispose of it properly.
I will bear the responsibility." So anyway.
That's hardcore, man.
That's one of my more memorable.
Oh, hilarious! And no, I haven't heard that one. I'm glad that I'm so glad that you shared that. And speaking of, I was gonna say, share that with my audience. I said I was gonna bring that up, and
It's a little weird, guys. Just so you know,
it was gonna make some noise.
So we're going straight to Facebook,
and I had to click to expand, and it's gonna make noise while I do it. That's why I didn't want to do it while you were talking.
Oh, okay. I heard two nays for a second.
Right. It can be so confusing.
I'm glad that
Okay, there we go. So what we've got here is. We've got Nick Brown, Hutch. Hey, Hutch, I haven't seen in a while. Luke, Josh, and David C. Baker, Enoch. What's up, guys? They're all watching. They're saying, and Luke and Eddie, Amber. Hello, Megzer. Hello, Megzer and Bugzer. We're gonna tell them coppers we're gonna get on by. They better just calm it down. All right, that is nice. We wanted to catch up on that chat with all of you. So, all right, let's move on to our next question. We've got a few here. Did you have issues with authority and cannabis use ever?
What do you mean by issues? Like, have I ever gotten in trouble?
Yeah.
Or do I just have issues
Like,
with authority?
did you ever get high and go to school and like get busted, or did you ever get arrested, or were you ever smoking in your room and your mom caught you or anything like that? Any authority?
I've actually never got, I mean, knock on wood, right? I've never been arrested.
You live in California. Oh, that's right. You travel around a lot. It could happen. That's right. Sure.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's cool. You know what? I'm just gonna take a second. I'm just gonna take a second here, right before Ron answers this question about authority. I'm just going to take a second and say, Doc, we wouldn't forget you, bro. Doc Holland, here's a shout out for you right here. Doc Holland! We wouldn't forget you, son. Let's get back to Ron Placone and the interview. 1 hour and 5 minutes and 20 seconds into this, so Doc can go back and find it on the video. It's 1 hour and 5 minutes and 20 seconds in. Your shout out, son. Your shout out, son. I wouldn't forget you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in college I had to run from a couple kegers, you know, when they got busted or whatever. I mean, I've probably done that more times than I could even count. But
Guilty.
I always ran fast.
Guilty, but
Yeah, I mean, aren't we all?
I have the look, I'm
If
sure.
You've never ran from a keger. Have you really lived? I mean, come on. But I did have one, for instance, when I was on the road full time, which I was on the road full time from 2012 till 2016, and I guess, yeah, about that time. But anyway, I would get, when I got my 98 Accord, I lived in a 98 Accord for a bit, and when I got that car, I would get pulled over somewhat regularly because it had tinted windows. I mean, it was a 98 Accord, so it was not in the best of shape. It was an old car by the time I got it, and I had tinted windows, tinted windshields, and everything that, you know, that had been done before I got the car, like the previous owner had done it or whatever. And
Happy 420 Newfoundland. Cheers. No law regarding cannabis.
Fair
Cannabis isn't
amount
tips for all.
because I was
Cheers.
often in a different state. You know, like at the time I lived in Tennessee, and, you know, I traveled full time for comedy, so I would have a Tennessee plate in a different state or something like that. And I just sort of looked like, you know, it was the type of car that I think cops will kind of be like, is this person looking for trouble? Who
Sure.
is this person?
Sure.
Now, here's something interesting. They had, one of the previous owners had put one of those Christian fish on the car,
Yes.
one of those like Christian emblems.
Mhm.
And I had it taken off. I don't have a problem with Christianity. That's just not my thing. So I didn't feel like it was honest to have it on there. You know, I didn't want it on my car. But looking back, I think I should have kept that on, and I bet I would have gotten pulled over less if I kept the, like, Jesus fish on the car.
Ron,
But
do you not accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?
I don't. I'm either an atheist or an agnostic, depending on how you arrange the terms.
Guilty
But, you know,
is-
I mean,
guilty is
each their own.
charged.
You know,
Guilty as
yeah,
charged.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say I have no problems with organized religion at all, because I think, you know, organized religion has done some terrible.
The Jewish God was the real God, and that the Christians were all believing some fantasy. But my God, oh my God, had a big white beard and was an old man, and he controlled the world. And the Christians, oh, the Christians, those Christians. I was 11 years old when I figured it out, bro. 11. When John Wayne died. That's when I figured it out. 11.
Yeah, I feel like I started asking a lot of questions around then too, and it was come high school I was pretty, because I mean I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic school, and you know,
Just
you
like
had to
Jimmy.
have
Jimmy just said this on a podcast the other day. He said, and it's
did
so
too,
funny.
yeah.
It's like him and Steph almost have a bit going, and she asks him a question, and he just walks right into the punchline. It is so hilarious. She says, so you're Catholic, so you believe in Catholic? And he says, no, I was taught by nuns. I don't believe any of that shit. It's like they completely took all of it out of me. I mean, when they're beating you and screaming, I guess, you know, that's how he was
I didn't
unlearned.
have any of that. I mean, yeah, that kind of was over by the time I was in Catholic school. But
Oh,
I mean, there was a
that's
little bit
horrible.
of that, like sometimes, like, but
So
it was all
abusive.
like kind of just messing around.
It's abusive.
But
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, it was like we had religion class, and by the time you're in high school and you're thinking critically more so than before, and you're realizing that adults are not, you know, infallible. I mean, we would ask these kind of basic questions about the dogma we were being taught, and nobody could answer it because there is no answer for it because it's absolutely absurd. I mean, when you look at a lot of the claims and dogma, I think in all religions, I can speak most to Catholicism just because I was raised in it, but it's absolutely absurd, the explanations they give to things, and it's because they're trying to explain something which we've not been able to explain yet.
Ron, we don't have to get into this at all. Check out the Atheist Experience, everybody. Check out Arn Raw on YouTube. Atheist Experience, Matt Dillahunty. He puts the hunt in Dillahunty. You're welcome. They all know this. We're going to move on. How much of cannabis history, its banning and effects on our current situation, are you aware of? Our current situation, where we are today.
Can you?
How much of cannabis history, the banning of cannabis?
Okay.
How much do you realize it's had an effect on our CO2 levels, the pollution, plastics, petrol, granny petrol, granny petrol.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Shouts out Graham Elwood. I had Guy McPherson on my show one day, and it wasn't as an interview like this. He was in the chat, and I was so honored that he was there, and he was chatting with me, and he was answering questions. And I said, so Dr. McPherson, I said, I have a theory that mankind would have made it another 100 years if it weren't for cannabis being banned in 1937. And he didn't even hesitate. He said 5,000 years. It took him 3 seconds. He said 5,000 years. Yes, 5,000 years. When you consider CO2 and oil spills and the warming and the heating and so much of that would have been avoided with hemp and the fuel that cannabis would have.
Say, like all the things that hemp provides as far as materials, as far as fuels. I mean, it could have prevented a lot of stuff, and it's still.
I'm going to get you this book. I'm going to get you this book, and I'm going to
send it to you.
I am totally getting him this book,
clothes.
and it's going to educate you. This was written by Jack Hare. You've probably heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
Okay, I'm going to send you this, and everything that you've heard or that you might want to know about it. It's going to be in this book. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to learn everything. You're going to know it from start to finish.
That's awesome, man. Well,
you're going to love it.
Look at the societal effects too. I mean, you look at just something like the prison industry, which has caused catastrophic things in our society in so many ways. That's all. Look at all the low-level drug offenders that were thrown in jail for having cannabis or whatever else, and look at the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, they are some of the biggest polluters on the planet. That's all. They're thriving because of the demonization of hemp and cannabis. So yeah, I mean, the list goes on, and it's so. It started out as an ingredient in food. I mean, it started out like they found it in China. They were using it in their food. It was just something they put in food.
Is that cannabis you said they were using in food? Cannabis?
Yeah. The earliest, as far as I know, unless you know something I don't, but as far as I know, the first reports in human history of cannabis use was a food ingredient in China. They were putting it in their food.
You wonder how much, because it definitely, when you cook it, you decarboxylate it. If they were cooking their food up to 275 degrees, they were activating that cannabis. So you wonder, with all of the advancements of that culture, if cannabis played a role in them thinking outside the box,
I suppose that's very possible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the details on it really. I just know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was BC where they were. Yeah, like that's the earliest we know. Like it was in China and they were using it in food and stuff. So.
All right. You mentioned, and I was sad when you said this. You mentioned I can't garden. I'm in the concrete jungle. Blah blah blah.
Ron, what would it
Yeah.
take? What would it take for you to get raised bed tomato plants or things like that? I mean, would you be able to do something like that?
Probably the space.
I mean,
the space would be nice.
4-foot box, wooden box, outside. Would you have room for that? 2x4?
Why don't I don't have a yard or anything.
No space at all.
No, like my apartment complex is kind of right in a city, and there's a parking lot and then just kind of a common walk area. I'm pointing to it now, like you can see it. Like, all right, but and it goes and it's just a concrete walk area, and that's it. And then it goes out to the street. So,
what about is there a courtyard owned by the the apartment? I mean, I know there's like barely any grass in certain
I don't think so. I mean,
areas.
Well, that being said, I mean, I also have access to farmers markets almost any night of the week, you know, between all the different neighborhoods in Southern California.
I think you mentioned that.
And there's multiple places that compost just in my neighborhood, and most places in Southern California are similar. So, I mean, I still feel like I have access to
Would you
quality
consider moving, Ron? Would you consider moving to a house, a rental house, instead of an apartment?
I mean, these days you can never say never. I mean, I don't want to leave SoCal anytime soon. I'm not ready to kind of give up on SoCal.
No, I'm not saying leave the area. I'm saying find a house right there. Find a little house on a little piece of property with just a little courtyard or something, you know, instead of an apartment.
That's pretty expensive in these parts and not as common. You know, I mean, I'm in the Los Angeles area.
I bet if we started looking, bro, we could find something that you could. I mean, what do apartments go for? They got to be expensive in that area, right?
Oh yeah, no matter what you're doing, it's very expensive.
That's my point. That's my point. Imagine if you were.
But renting is still a lot more affordable than owning, and as far as the yard's concerned,
and renting is fine.
There are house rent.
Renting is perfect. Renting is what I recommend.
Right, but what I was going to say, like, as far as like house rentals, usually that's something you have to do with a lot of different people. And look, I'm a married man. Nay, at this point, it's just me, my wife, and my cat, and that's going to be it. So it'd be hard for us to like get roommates or something. I mean, I guess you can never say never, but I don't know. I think it's just the three of us figuring it out.
I'm not thinking about roommates. I'm thinking about affordability. And finding a place as close to the area where you are, where you can be on even if it's like a little suburb or something like that, but where you even like row homes or something where there's just a little tiny backyard where you have sunlight and you could grow vegetables. Because, man, it's just to get you thinking in that mode. I mention it just to get you start thinking that it's something that could be possible. Like you said, never say never.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never say, because like, I mean, prior to this pandemic, I would say I would never be leaving Southern California, but now it's not an impossibility. I mean, I might be at some point. Who knows? I mean, I'm not ready to give up on it yet. But
Ron, my dog is chewing. My dog's chewing something up. Let me just make sure. What do you got? What do you got there? Oh no, man! A string winder. You got a string winder, man. One of those things, guitar string winder. I was like, hear this crunching sound. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a dog toy. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, brother. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I was just kind of riffing on when you said never say never, and yeah, I mean, it's the one thing this pandemic has done is I think it's taught us. Yeah, I mean, we can never say never, because I mean, I don't know what the future of Los Angeles is going to be. I don't know what the digital landscape is going to look like. I think the showbiz industry in which I dwell is changing. You know, like I said to you, I don't think I'm going to leave anytime soon. I think I'm going to see it through. But my wife and I, we always talk about different scenarios, and one of the things we talk about, like, look, if it just changes to the point where we just need an internet connection to be at work, maybe we'll just go out to some lake town somewhere and just get more space and grow something and just, then a lot of my friends, like, half serious, will be like, what if we all just started a big commune?
Right.
And I joking, because, like, I think a lot of people are kind of like, people I think are reassessing their priorities in life, and they're thinking,
That was
that
crazy looking. That was like some kind of an entity. I was turning into something else. It was weird.
In the thick of it, because things are just kind of crazy right now, and I get that. I really do. The other side of that is I really love Los Angeles. I am in many ways a city dweller. I always have been most of my life, and so I'm not ready to give up on it yet.
The other side of that is you put them both together. You stay in the area. You keep your life, but you find that home that makes it all work. A home that is sustainable. It's got a well. It's got solar. It's got all the things that I talk about on my show that I'm not going to bore you with right now. But
no, dude, you're not boring me at all. I mean, it's actually one of the things I want to cover on my show soon is and you might know a lot more about this than me, but junk ships.
Nope. Tell me.
Am I saying it wrong?
I have no idea. Tell us. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's so it's completely environmentally sustainable houses built out of all recycled materials. They look like something out of a Tim Burton movie or something, but they're very, they have solar and they have all these other things, and they're pretty sustainable. They're right now they're incredibly expensive, and unless you're very, very well off, you're not going to be able to afford one.
I can't believe I haven't seen or heard of these yet. I mean, because
I might be saying it wrong. I might. If you here, I can look it up real quick.
While you do that, the chat's going crazy. I'm going to read some of these chats to you, okay?
Sure.
People saying that they're doing gardens. Let's see here. Cannabisism tisms. Hippie chick says hello to you and me.
Hello.
Luke Day, you two are coming for a fish. Hemp is amazing for pollution. I buy a lot of hemp products. Yes.
Earth ships.
Earth
ships.
Earth ships.
Yes, Earth ships is what I meant. I think I said junk ships or something.
Billy says to send you a grow tent, that I should ship you a grow tent so you can grow in your home. I grew cherry tomatoes inside my house. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That would be great. I mean, my cat attacks any and every plant that ever comes in here. Like, my wife will try to keep plants, and Lucy just goes to town on that.
So then a tent would be the solution, because the cat wouldn't be able to get in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But how would it get sunlight?
There's a light. There's a light inside the tent.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
That's something I know a lot about. So
yeah,
I can help you with
I know that's your thing. I'll tell you what, if I have a little more space in the not too distant future, I'm gonna hit you up first, and I'm gonna be like, okay, this is the space I have. What can I do?
Excellent. Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. So, Shelly says she lives in San Diego in a 2-bedroom condo. Her rent is $2,500 a month. David C says
that's
urgent.
A lot, yeah.
Follow Eddie. That's insane. I have $100,000 home. Okay. David C. Baker has a $100,000 home, garden, collect rainwater, 7 acres of land, is paying $580 a month mortgage with an escrow, $789. That's a lot of information.
Where does he live?
He lives up above Syracuse, like way up north New York.
Oh, that's a pretty area, man.
He's like in the what aren't you near the, what are those mountains called? The Adirondacks or Adirondacks?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you've never heard of that one?
Really pretty.
Oh, man.
No.
Ron, are you not familiar with Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Oh no, I'm not. I mean, I'm vaguely familiar, but I wouldn't know. Like, yeah.
There is an Aqua Teen Hunger Force where he just mentions it, and I was like, Adirondacks. What is that? And I looked it up. I Googled it. It's a mountain range in New York, and it's actually, I had heard it before, but it's like a well-known mountain range up way north New York. Adirondack. They're all telling me now. Adirondack, yes.
Okay, Adirondack. Yeah.
So,
no, that's pretty up there, upstate New York. I mean, I have a cousin who lives in Rochester.
Yeah, but you can't get what you need there, bro. I mean, that's not LA. That's not where you need to be. You need to be in a certain spot.
Yeah.
You know. And is there
right now? I mean, that could change. We don't know.
Right. And you know, other things can change too. Did you have issues? Okay, I'm going through here. Okay, 2178. That was a very depressing number, a year that I'd come up with where humanity just ceases to exist. 2178. All life on Earth stops. 2178. Because of math. It's math.
Possible,
it's extinction.
man.
It's stupid extinction rate. When they tell you that there's 53,750 species that go extinct every year, and then I did the math. I was like, well, how many total species are there? There are 8.7 million, and then you like divide that, or 8.3 million. You divide it in, and it comes out to 151 years. And you're like, 151 years. We only got 151 years left, and then just the math says we can't survive without other species, and other species can't survive without other species. And then this thing called cascading extinction happens when you get this, when one species dies and there's several species that prey off of it. So then those several species die, but then there's other species that prey off of those, and then it's a pyramid of death and extinction. Yeah, 2178. We'll talk about that another day. Let's move on. How do you feel, Ron Placone? I'm gonna do my best. My best mad flavor. Joey Diaz,
Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz, Ronnie
Placone.
Placone.
Did I ever tell you to?
Well, Ronnie, tell me, Ronnie, what?
I had to follow him.
What? No, you got a story?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us the story.
Dude, so for anyone who doesn't know this, I mean, Joey Diaz is one of the best stand-ups out there. He is like, he's just a
happy 710, perfect timing, man. Cheers. He's a natural talent, like a pianist child. He's just like.
Very talented guy. I mean, when you see people like him, Bill Burr, I mean,
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. They're the masters. Right. I mean, they're the John Lennons and Paul McCartneys of what we do. You know, and so one day I was doing a show at Flappers Comedy Club, and it was just a showcase, and I was headlining it. And then all of a sudden they just come into the green room, and they're like, "Hey, Ron, we're gonna put someone up right in front of you, right before you go on. Joey Diaz wants to do some time." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck me!" And like, but that. I mean, getting into that's LA for you. You never know when someone. I mean, that's why like when they start like giving you headlining spots, there's a certain amount of stress that goes with it. Because you never know. I mean. Whoever might show up and be like, I want to do a few minutes. Wow. And then all of a sudden you have to just follow that. Like you have to like, hey, the Beatles are going to do a set and then you have to go on.
With my harmonica.
So Joey Diaz was, the reason he was there was because, it's actually kind of sad. His cat died. So he was really bummed out about his cat dying. So he was just going to every club in LA to just do comedy, to just get
out of it. Yeah, get out of it. Exactly.
Because when you're Joey Diaz, you can show up somewhere and be like, I'd like to go on, and they're going to put you on. He's at that level. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he had shown up at Flappers. He's like, I'd like to go on. And they're like, great, we'll put you on right before the headliner. And so Joey Diaz, he went up, and of course he tore the fucking roof off the place. And but I was able to ride his wave. Like there was so much energy and enthusiasm in the room.
Nice.
I only had to do like 12 minutes or so it's not like I had to do like an hour.
Right.
But like I was just able to ride his wave in and just land the fucking boat, and it was a great show, and everyone had a good time. I was nervous as fuck, but it was, and then I was so excited because I'm like, dude, I just fucking followed him, and I didn't, shit all over this, I didn't like leave a turd on stage, so I was excited to talk to him after, but he had already gone to a different club to go do another spot, so I didn't even get to talk to him. I tweeted at him, but he didn't tweet me back. But I did tweet at him. So
he is an addict.
He left LA. I mean, speaking of LA, he left. He's one of the people who left.
He's an addict in every sense of the word. He's addicted to getting on that stage, getting that rush.
We all are. We're all addicted to that.
Not me. Not me, man.
Well, not you.
Not me.
Comedians, we're all stand up. We're all going through withdrawal right now, man. We're struggling.
Ron, you get butterflies. I don't remember if I asked you this before you go on stage.
Sure. Yeah.
every show.
Yeah.
What is the time frame before going on? How long before you go on stage is it that you get that feeling in your? I get it in my stomach. I'm a musician. I sing and play guitar. I know what it's like. For me, what's it like for you? Do you get that tightness in your stomach where you can't eat?
The same. Yeah. Well, no, I can eat. I like to eat.
What do you eat? What do you eat before? How like Jimmy Dore likes to eat during a show, right? He will eat. Yeah,
he does.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
He calms him down.
Yeah. Well, those live shows are really long. Like the live shows there's just a lot of show.
Uh-huh.
And Jimmy's doing theaters now, so he doesn't have to worry about capping it at 90 minutes. He can kind of just do what he wants.
Right.
So yeah, he won't eat. I mean, a lot of us do. I mean, I'll totally eat in the green room ahead of time. So will Graham. So will Steph. Jimmy will kind of pick around at stuff, but he won't really. Typically, he won't really.
It's more like it kind of comforts him just knowing it's there.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he will, but yeah, I've definitely seen it a lot of times where Jimmy, he'll just kind of pick at a piece of fruit or something, but he won't really have a meal, and so he'll get hungry on stage.
So what's your favorite food?
Everybody has a different process.
What's your favorite food to eat before you go on doing your stand up?
Oh man, I don't think I have a favorite. I just have.
Don't you have let me ask you a question. I had a bar here in Lake County where I live up here in Northern California, where when I would play, there was a little Mexican restaurant across the street. I'd go in there, I would get a burrito, I would bring it back into the bar, I would sit in the bar, I would get a Coke at the bar, quarter of the hour, cheers, burrito, and it would calm me, and it got me in that thing. Man, it was my thing, man. I had the burrito from don't you?
So I do have stuff like that. I have certain types of comfort foods that I relate to performing. My old home club was Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville. It's still one of the best clubs out there. It's a fantastic comedy club. And
I'm sorry, did you say what city was that?
Nashville. I used to live in Nashville, Tennessee.
I thought you said Nashville. Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I lived in Nashville for a couple of years, but my big thing was before a show, I would always have soft pretzel bites with mustard, and that was my big thing. That was because it's it's kind of carb loading. It's nice before a show when you're going to exert a lot of energy.
Yes.
So I would always do that. And then at Flappers here in the Los Angeles area, one of my favorite things I would always get is I would get an order of French fries with and I don't like ketchup. That's a random thing about me. I'm far from a picky eater. I like a lot of different food, but I don't like ketchup. That's some random
Ron Placone
thing that I just
doesn't like ketchup. Okay.
I don't like ketchup.
That was my Bill Murray. That was my Bill Murray Groundhog's Day.
Doesn't like ketchup. But yeah, well, it gets even more random because I'm from Pittsburgh originally, which is where most of the ketchup is made.
Oh, that's funny.
So that makes it that more ironic. that.
So what do you have with your fries, bro? See, I told you, you are a man of mystery. We are all in suspense. We can't wait to find out, man. What's the sauce?
I know. I really drew it out.
See what's good.
Barbecue sauce.
That's good. I like barbecue sauce on my fries. I like mayonnaise. I like the UK mayonnaise thing. Yes. And don't be ashamed that you put mayonnaise on your fries, Ron. You got to let people know that you're gonna do it. Mustard's fine. I like mustard on my fries.
Mustard?
Yes.
I like mustard.
Yeah.
Or kind of like an aioli type thing, like a mayo aioli. Like that's always spectacular on fries.
I don't know what mayo aioli is. What's mayo aioli?
That's just what it sounds like, man. It's just mayonnaise with like the herbs and the oil in it. Instead of having it on a sandwich, you just have it as a side with your fries. I like that. But yeah, flappers, for whatever reason, I would always get the barbecue sauce. I would always get a side of barbecue sauce. And I like barbecue sauce on my fries a lot. And I know, like, in some barbecue sauce, there's actually ketchup in it. I am aware of that. But I like barbecue sauce. I don't like ketchup. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Just how I am.
All right. Next question is for you. How do you feel about the government saying, this is your brain on drugs? Does that, when you remember those commercials, like I'm sure you do, right? You remember when they were actually on TV?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just tell you, as someone that had used cannabis before, I really believed it, man. I really fell for that ad campaign. There was no one there to tell me that no. So I thought that, yeah, you smoke cannabis, it probably does some damage to you. Probably. That the government is telling me this is your brain on drugs. I was fooled. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, I forget. I was pretty young when all that stuff came out. So it was just sort of like.
Oh, the whole Nancy Reagan just say no thing? You don't remember any of that? That was like.
No, I do. I remember it, but I was very young.
I had a shirt that said just say yes. I used to wear it to work. To a music store. It was the music stores. Perfect. It was the music store's logo. It was a music stand, I think was the name of the store, music something, and it said just say yes in big letters.
Yeah. No, I remember that campaign, but what's funny is now, if you just say like, this is your brain on drugs, the first thing that will come to my mind is the Bill Hicks bit about it.
Yeah, Bill Hicks. Oh, another master. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, he was. I mean, I never got to see him live, but I know a lot of people who have, and they all have story. I don't know.
Well, you do know that Jimmy Dore spat on Alex Jones, so there's that.
Oh yeah, and Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just know anyone I know who's seen Bill Hicks is like, they just say he's the best there's ever been. And, I mean, I never got to see him live, but he is, one of my favorite comics. He's one of the reasons I started doing comedy. And his bit on This Is Your Brain on Drugs is so hysterical. And to the point where it's like, that's what I think of first. When I hear that now, I think of his bit.
Right. So we're all going to go watch Bill Hicks's This Is Your Brain on Drugs on YouTube. I'm sure that's an easy find.
You can find it. Yeah, you can find it. It's so funny because he talks about that guy. He's like, that guy's drunk during the whole commercial. It's, yeah. You just got to watch it.
I'm going to ask you something. It's back to cannabis. And I want you to just take a second before you answer. Just think about it, okay? Why is there an entire movement against cannabis?
Well, special interest, I think, is if you had to just sum that up in one, or two words, I think special interest. I mean, I don't think there's anybody who really
Nancy
Well, I think
Grace,
some people-
Newt Gingrich. I could start naming people,
Right.
and even people with no agenda, like Dr. Oz, and people that are like, "Oh yeah, this is horrible for you. It's giving you lung cancer, and the bodies are piling up." And then there's the cyclical vomiting syndrome, and it's just horrible what cannabis does. Oh, and you get addicted to it, I hear I understand the money side of it. I understand the big poison.
Right.
I call it big poison. I call big pharma big poison, and I group the oil industry and all the chemical and the plastics, everyone, because they're all against hemp. None of them want hemp legalization. None of them. So I call it big poison. They're poison for us, and it's not any of those people that I think about. It's the Nancy. What is going on in Nancy Grace's head? What's going on in I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of somebody else who's anything.
argue.
But go ahead.
I would argue they have an agenda too. I think
And what
a lot
is
of
it? What is
people-
Nancy Grace's agenda against cannabis? And what funds her? Is it money?
Well, definitely money. As far as who specifically, I don't know the answer to that. But when you're creating, content or a body of ideas, there is a lot of money in being a contrarian, even if you go, contrarian to the mainstream agenda. I mean, look at someone like a Malcolm Gladwell, someone who, has made himself very, very wealthy by just kind of always arranging this contrarian data in a way that kind of like flips a preconceived notion on its head. And some of his stuff I thought was valuable. And
Is that like a
some of
Jordan
it, not
Peterson?
at
Is
all.
that like a Jordan Peterson type thing?
Malcolm Gladwell? He's the guy who wrote Blink, and he wrote Outliers and David and Goliath. But he also, like, his main thing was he's also done a lot with the tobacco industry. Like, he's also done a lot of, making the argument that cigarettes aren't that big of a thing.
Oh, that's horrible, man. That's horrible.
So it's like there's a lot of money in that. So I think there's a lot of money in if you're a personality and you're saying, oh, I know all the contrarian stuff about cannabis, and everyone's saying, oh, this is all lies. And yeah, some of that drug war stuff was propaganda, but here's why cannabis is actually still terrible. There's a ton of money in that.
Right.
So I would say they do have an agenda.
Right.
And I think it's just one of those things. When you just look at the evidence and the facts and the science that's available, there's a ton of benefits to hemp. There's a ton of benefits to cannabis. There's a ton of, and there is no evidence that it causes a physical addiction, at least not to the extent of cigarettes or alcohol or pain pills. I think like once you get used to it, you may feel some symptoms if you are, a very, very, very frequent user. But so yeah, it has a lot more benefits than all those things, and that's kind of apparent. So I would say it's mostly special interest.
I was acting like I was acting like I was chugging my cannabis when you were saying that. I was like, give me more.
Do you, man?
I was doing physical comedy, bro. I was doing physical comedy, bro.
I thought you were actually taking a hit.
That's why I had to explain
I thought
it.
maybe you're just taking a. I mean, that's the thing. Like you're
All right.
take a bong rip, we keep talking.
All right, we're gonna talk about something else. And this, I sent this to you, and you laugh. You're like, ah, that's funny. You sent me back. I said, hashtag MAGA, hashtag Make America Get Along.
Yeah.
Yeah, you laughed. So okay.
It's a good idea.
And before I go on, I just want to say there's an ongoing joke on my show. I go like that. I'm like, and I called when I point the wrong way on my podcast. Like if I want to point at Frankie over here, and I accidentally do that, and I'm like, oh, I just Ron Placoned. Frankie, I say when I point the wrong direction, I call it Ron Placoning, and I usually do it every broadcast. And I've been doing that for quite some time. I got that from you. You said that one of your shows you were pointing, and so you're like, oh yeah, you're like, I gotta get used to this. I was like, yeah, me too. I'm that's your thing. I do it all the time, but I'm gonna put your name on it. I love it.
Thanks, man. No, I just got a new screen, so I'm still used to being like, wait, no, okay.
So I started this thing. It's like a movement, and it's about accepting and listening to people with different opinions, because everybody wants to be heard. That's the one thing I've learned, is everybody wants to have a voice. And a lot of times we just want people to hear our own voice, and we're not interested in listening to what other people have to say. And I think that has been my biggest problem with the lack of success with my podcasts for the last 6 years or so, has been because when people came in with differing opinions from me, I would generally just block them. I wouldn't listen to them, because I was interacting with everybody all the time, and I still do. I interact with my audience completely. So when someone comes in and says something that I find is not factual, that I disagree with or whatever, I block them. And it used to be, I wouldn't even give it a second thought. I would just, boom, they're blocked. I wouldn't say anything. I would just go on. And then these protests happened, and they had the protests and the violence had an effect on me that I never thought I cared so much about people before. And I do. And I don't care what someone's political affiliation is. I know you don't either. We don't want to see people hurting each other. And I know that's how you are. This is watching you and watching other people like Graham, and so many other people that respect people, and you still get your opinion out there, but you just know that in your heart. I made a comment earlier on my podcast today. We're talking about you. I said, I have a feeling you could take Ron Placone and put him right in the middle of a Trump rally, and he'd be okay. I mean, he might not necessarily be comfortable, but he'd be okay.
Wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't think he would have a problem being there. I don't think he'd have a problem with people. I don't think he would go up to people and be confrontational and try to push his opinion on them. I think he'd be observant and he'd watch, and I know I would too. And I wouldn't try to start anything with people, and I would just get along, and then I'd leave, and I'd be like, wow, that was something I never thought I'd experienced before. But my point being, we don't have a lot of time, man. We don't have a lot of time to start loving each other, and we need to start right now before it gets so violent that they start sending in the military to try to stop violence. When kids are bringing rifles to protests, the police are standing by right now, and they're letting it happen. But there's going to be a point when the government will have enough, and they will send in the military, and then we're going to have a big problem. Then we're going to have massive problems. And I don't want to see it get to that. And I think we can stop it.
Well, it's already gotten to that to an extent. I mean, that happened here, that happened in Portland.
Absolutely.
It hasn't happened on a mass level yet.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. And I think if we start listening to each other instead of fighting with each other, maybe we can, it's kind of like what you say about climate. This is what I'm saying about the unrest and it's almost like the beginnings of a civil war, which doesn't have to even happen. It's not necessary. And you know what I say about sports, Ron? I never liked them. Not a sports guy. Never been a sports guy. But you know what? Sports teach people how to lose gracefully. You gotta go shake hands. You don't get your trophy, and you go and you practice and you try to be better, and you come back and you try to be the winner next time, and you do what you got to do. You take your licks, whatever. I think that's a wonderful thing that sports teaches people, and I think people need to go back to that mentality about, hey man. I don't know if Joe Biden's going to be the next president. I don't know if Donald Trump is, but I'm pretty sure one of them's going to be. And either way, I'm not going to go hurt anybody over it. And I just don't want anybody else to do it either. So give me all of your thoughts on all of this, Ron. I'm just kind of curious where you're at.
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I agree with a lot of those sentiments. And what I would say, or I guess the way I would put it is, yeah, we need, as a society, we need to listen to each other and hear each other out. But we also need to recognize that one of the reasons we're having the problems we're having is because a lot of people have gone unheard for way too long. And it's just unacceptable. I mean, the way the police is conducted in this country is unacceptable.
It's a self-reinforcing feedback loop, because people aren't
Well, not
heard,
just that.
and then it creates unrest, and then that unrest creates violence, and that violence creates, less people wanting to listen to their voices, because that is the reaction people have to violence. They don't want to listen. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is that a systemic disaster that is naturally built to oppress people and uphold the needs of the powerful and nobody else. I mean, so when you have a structure like that and you really look at it, you realize that, well, we can't, there is no chance at, quote, reform. We can't reform the police. We have to completely reinvent what it means to have policing in our lives. And, but it is up to us to explain what defunding the police really means, what reinventing law enforcement really means, and why that's actually better for all of society. And that's not an easy feat, because a lot of people, they hear that and they react a certain way, or they think it means a certain thing that it actually doesn't. And
but words are so important, Ron. Words are so important.
I know.
And when we chose that phrase, defund the police, I think we may have misspoke a little bit. I'd rather re-educate them. Personally, I want to demilitarize them, and I want to re-educate them. Okay,
well,
go ahead.
I mean, but I think you got to recognize when it's a systemic problem, if you just say, oh, we're just going to re-educate, or we're just going to change training, that kind of deflects the systemic problem that we have.
The militarization, the militarization of the police, the lack of training, the anger that's out there, man. Brother, there was just another incident just like 2 days ago, man. I can't keep up with them. You would think
that's the thing. I mean, so I'm with you on demilitarization. I agree with that 110%. But defunding is part of that. So it's kind of like you have to explain what all that means and where it's coming from. You have to explain that, like, look, defund the police doesn't mean that the police don't exist. It doesn't mean we take everything. It means we look at this city budget where they are getting billions. I mean, here in Los Angeles, over half the budget goes towards the police force, and it goes towards tanks, rubber bullets, and all this unnecessary militarization that they use against people who live here. And what we're saying is it's time to change this and put a lot of this money into social services, and put a lot of this money into programs, and to put a lot of this money into other things. And with the existing budget of the police, we're going to demilitarize this, because we shouldn't be spending it on this. So, there's not, I don't think there's any all-encompassing, like, one type of messaging that's bound to be 100% successful. But I think it's like we have to walk that line of being firm and strong at addressing what the problem actually is, while still at the same time not completely scaring people away. And that's not an easy line to walk, but doing anything less isn't enough.
Well, let me just tell you, I think the problem with that movement is the same problem with the Democratic Party. I think it's branding, and I think it's messaging. I think, I have the same problem with the Black Lives Matter movement, which I support 100%. I am a Black Lives Matter proud marcher. If I had the balls to get out in the street and march with them, I would, which I don't, because I'm a big pussy. But I would love to go out there and support Black Lives Matter. But, you know, they would get a lot more support if they changed their name to All Lives Matter. Just change the name. If they change the name, then all the people that are like, oh, Black Lives Matter? Well, All Lives Matter. And then imagine that. Well, okay, we'll change the name to All Lives Matter. Now what do you got to say? Oh, alien lives matter. What about the animals? There's the beasts. You forgot the beasts. They'll come up with something, right?
I don't agree with that. I think it's funny. Like I like the joke, but yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that All Lives Matter was something that...
It's a perpetration, man. It's a right-wing talking point perpetration.
Right.
It's wrong.
Well,
I disagree with it. I completely disagree with it.
Black Lives Matter.
I completely agree. I agree with you 100%.
I think the name's important, and I think Black Lives Matter. I think the name's important, and it's got to stay. And I think more people are realizing the problematic part of All Lives Matter. Because I mean, just a couple years ago, people were saying it, you know, with like good intentions, like, oh well, yeah, All Lives Matter.
No. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that, Ron. I don't think they ever had good intentions when they were saying All Lives Matter. I disagree, brother.
No, they didn't. Not the people who hijacked it, but I'm talking like Bernie Sanders said it at one point. That's what I'm talking about. So like,
someone said, but Bernie, don't all lives matter? And he probably agreed to it or something, like hesitantly.
Right, pretty much. So what
one of those gotcha moments.
The people who started saying all lives matter, they did it to marginalize Black Lives Matter, and they did it to be disrespectful. I believe that 110%. But other people who heard it were kind of just like, well, yeah, of course all lives matter. That is what I'm saying has stopped, because more people are realizing that first point. More people are realizing, look, Black Lives Matter never meant that all lives don't matter.
Right, I know.
Black people are getting murdered, and that's the problem. So
right.
We're gonna stop saying all
but
lives
Ron, more black people are being killed by black people. Black on black crime. Don't you love that one? And you know what my response to that one always, because that is that is their number one talking point on the right. And my response to that is always, well, white people kill white people too. And let me tell you something. When you're at home, you're not a trained police officer. You're not trained how to deal with the public. You're just a man and a woman fighting, or you're a group of people fighting in the street, or you're in a car and you're having road rage. You're not a police officer that just left the department that's got, you know, a degree supposedly from that department in how to control situations. It's like these police officers, though, they don't control the situations very well, so they don't seem to exhibit a lot of control.
So right? Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, any movement, it's not going to be perfect. I mean, that's just how the world works. So there's not, you know, it's not like Black Lives Matter has done everything perfectly, because that just never happens. But I mean, as a movement, it's infinitely important, and I think that, yeah, I mean, I think more people are kind of seeing through, you know, the propaganda of all lives matter, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, well, it is a good thing. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's infinitely important, and I think it's we've had so little concessions, but what few concessions we have had is because of those movements. It's because of people protesting in the streets, and we've seen more in the past couple months than we have in decades. Because I mean, let's keep in mind, this has been going on for years. I mean, for years and years and years. People are just catching it on video now. You know, it's not like Rodney King happened and then, you know, Michael Brown happened and there was nothing in between and everything was fine. No, it was happening. It never stopped.
Right.
It's just we're catching it on tape more, and people aren't being silent.
That's another talking point that drives me crazy from the right, is when you hear them say, oh, how come there's all these protests, and then they'll name one person who's been killed? How come there's all these protests over one death? And like you said, no, it's been a progression. It happens every day. I mean, there was a 13-year-old autistic boy that was shot in the back just the other day. 13 years old.
in Utah, I think that happened.
Oof.
And yeah, I mean, well, I remember this person was like arguing with. I was talking about one of the shootings, and this person was like arguing with, or they left a comment. They weren't arguing, but they left a comment, and the comment that they left was in reference to a different shooting than the one I was talking about. And I'm like, so this is how frequently this happens.
Oh, I got you. Right. You can't even keep up. You know who that happened to? It happened to the Rational National on his show. He was covering that, the 13-year-old, and he said, yeah, I wanted to bring up an article or something about this. And he said, I typed it in, and he said, I thought I had it. And he said, no, this was another incident, but this one happened back in, and you're just like, yeah, there's so many incidents that you can't even keep up.
There's so many. And when you meet these people who try to, every single time they'll do the mental gymnastics to defend the cops. And it's like, look, you don't even know which case you're defending at this point because they happen so often. So do you think maybe, just maybe, this is a really big freaking problem? Maybe this is a systemic problem. Maybe the cops are a problem. Maybe they're in the wrong. Do you think that maybe you can go there? So
it would be nice on a federal level, just all the way across the board, scale it back and redesign it. It would be great. Okay, so here's a great one.
I mean,
Wait, well, I'm sorry. Do you want to add more to it?
No,
I don't want to cut you off.
How
How do you find so much positivity to share with your audience, Ron Placone?
I don't know if I do. I mean, some people tell me I do.
Bullshit! Oh my God, bro! Let me tell you something. You bring joy. I mean, I gotta tell you, when I go into the Zoom and I pull up all the cameras of everybody, and they're all just like, you know, everyone is so pumped to see you, and I can see the effect that you've had on people. Not that you're just having at that moment, but before you even come on, I could get into a Zoom early, and just everyone, you could just, it's like at a rock concert, man. People are just, you can feel the buzz, and we're not even in the same room, but it's like you could just feel the excitement, and everyone is just, you know, getting ready to go. You have an aura, man. You have something that you're projecting. And are you not conscious of it?
Well, that's really kind of you to say, man. I appreciate that a lot. That's a hell of a compliment.
Oh, you're welcome.
I don't know. I mean, I just, you know, for me, I'm not a hopeless guy. Like there are things that I do find hope in, and the hope is, I feel like I'm like being Barack Obama right now. There is hope, but there are places where I do have optimism, and it's genuine. I'm not forcing it or faking it. I do have genuine optimism. There's other places where I don't, and I'm upfront about that too. So, I mean, I guess the answer to that question is, you know, I'm upfront about where my optimism is, and I'm very sincere in it. But I'm also very upfront and blunt about where my optimism isn't. And, you know, some people might find that off-putting, whereas other people really connect with it. And to the people that connect with it, that's awesome. I'm glad that, you know, we connect and you enjoy what I do because I enjoy doing it. So
when you interact with Lucy, are you aware of your audience's delight in that interaction between you and Lucy?
I hope they Lucy gets a lot of love, which makes me feel so good because I'm a huge animal lover in general. I love dogs too. I'm not exclusively a cat person, but you know, I have Lucy, and Lucy's my companion, and yeah.
And she's much older than I realized. How old is Lucy?
14.
14 years old.
Yeah, she's still got a lot of energy, man. I mean, right? I'm saying this as she's napping next to me, but
that's all they do.
She still plays, and she still like has her routine. She knows when it's time for her to be fed, and she's still, you know, very affectionate cat, and she still, you know, comes to bed when it's time, and likes to chill out on the couch, and likes to play when she has energy and wants to play, and so. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate, you know, all the love she gets from people. I mean, there's a ton of, you know, people send her stuff. And it's funny, she's real particular about the food that she eats and the treats that she likes. So I have a lot of stuff for her that is unopened that eventually I'm probably just going to donate to a humane society because I don't see her ever eating it. But but she appreciates it nonetheless.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean that's kind of why we started doing the webcomic, the Lucy and Ron comic, is to kind of capture all that and to kind of give something to the fellow animal enthusiasts. So so yeah, like I'm glad there's that part of it.
So, do you ever get depressed?
Yeah, of course.
So
Absolutely. I mean,
I just had the last 2 days when it was orange outside. I fell into a depression. I got into the bathtub and soaked for a couple. I fell asleep in the bathtub for 2 days, man. I felt down, So I was just kind of wondering how it affects you and how often and how you deal with it.
Cool. So I usually go in shorter waves than that. Like I've never had like multiple days. And for me, it's like I'll just reach. I mean, especially with this, the pandemic and stuff. I mean, I've had those moments where I would just say to my wife, I'm like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. This is nuts. And and a lot of it is I just miss stand up so freaking much that it's just breaking my heart, man. And or like just things don't, like everything, you have one of those days where just every little thing goes wrong, like everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong, which I feel like in many ways this year is like one of those days as a year, but like, but the way I deal with it is sometimes I will occasionally use cannabis. That's on the list of things I will do, or I'll put a little CBD in a drink. Sometimes I like to just go on a run, which now, the air is hazardous. So even that is like not possible, which sucks, man. But I like to, what are some other things? My cat helps with that.
Yes.
I mean, cats help with stress so much.
Right.
And the other thing with cats, and I know dogs are this way too, but cats are like a little more subtle about it typically. They know when you're hurting. They know like kind of when you need them. They can sense it. So, Lucy's always been, I mean, just an amazing, amazing cat with that. Like she's amazing. So my cat, and then, having somebody to vent to with my wife. I mean, that's nice. That's part of being married. I vent to her, she vents to me. That's, and we try not to overburden the other at any point. So yeah, that's usually where I turn. Sometimes I'll talk to my mom.
That's nice. Sure.
And then I guess one of the biggest things that I'm forgetting is I love to just write or strum a guitar.
Yes.
I try to channel it into creativity. I mean, some of the best pieces of stand-up that I've written have been when I've been in a lot of pain. Or sometimes it's when the pain is like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like scabbing over, metaphorically. You know what I mean? Like because when I had a really bad breakup a couple years back. I was engaged and it didn't work out, and we broke up, and it was really rough for me. And when I first started talking about it on stage, it was just I was getting no laughs. It was just like, because it was just so raw. And it was just terrible. But then as time went on, it became some of the funniest parts of my act. Because I channeled the pain the right way.
Right.
And so, yeah. So I guess that, all those things is the answer to your question.
You getting up on stage and processing relationship stuff, not getting laughs, is fucking hilarious in parentheses. It's fucking hilarious, bro. That's funny as shit.
Sure. I mean,
and you're not gonna believe this. Ah! And the crowd's like,
yeah, well, it happened in Nashville, and like when I first tried to talk about it, I was like, I was just at an open mic in town, so half the people in there were just other comics who knew me. So, and a lot of them knew my ex-fiance, so it was just one day I'm just on stage, and I'm like, so I'm not engaged anymore. And for a lot of people, they just knew me, so they were just sort of, whoa. And so
right, sure.
Yeah, I was just sort of like, there was sort of a kind of like an overwhelming aura in the room, and it was, yeah, it really sucked. But, but then eventually I was able to make it funny and also just, move on with my life and, so.
When I'm not feeling, good, I'll usually think about someone famous who's got it rough. Like, I'll think of someone like Julian Assange. He's got, when I think about what he did for us, what he exposed, and that the people that he exposed are literally running around free while he was rotting in prison. And I'm like, that's a rough ride. Are you covering Julian Assange right now?
Yeah. I did my episode on Wednesday. I talked to a journalist named Taylor Hudak. She's in London right now.
Was that the real pretty girl with the blonde hair?
Yeah.
I did see parts of that. I did. I was cleaning my house and I had that running. That is right. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so she's in London covering it, and there's a lot of other outlets that are covering it in London, and some folks are out in DC, protesting and keeping it alive out there. And there's actually a couple of people who I think are out near you, like some Northern California Action for Assange folks that are probably kind of close to you. But anyway, and yeah, I've tried to cover it as much as I can because it's just such a pressing. I mean, it really is like the freedom of the press story of our generation in so many ways, and it's a very overwhelming case when you really think about it, because you don't need to be a legal scholar to realize how insane it is that this is even happening. When you look at what they're trying to charge this guy with, the way they're grouping the charges, the legislation that they're saying applies to him and doesn't. We can use the Espionage Act against him, but he doesn't have any First Amendment protections because he's not an American citizen. They're trying to just blatantly have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to claim that this guy hacked something. There's no evidence indicating that he did, none whatsoever. They don't have any confessions. They don't have it. They tortured Chelsea Manning to get a confession out of her. They didn't get one, likely because it isn't true. And this is still happening. He's been in solitary confinement for 7 years, which that is torture. That is straight up torture. Solitary confinement is torture. Yeah. And there's still, Gordon Dimmick. I don't know if you know who Gordon is. He's really cool,
I do. I do know who Gordon is. Absolutely, he's got
Gordon's
a great podcast. Check him out on YouTube, guys.
I love Gordon. Yeah. Gordon's awesome, and he tweeted out something that I really liked. He's like, I would call this a kangaroo court, but I feel like that'd be insulting to kangaroos.
Of course.
So, and so it's really, and it's one of those things. It amazes me the amnesia of the United States, because I remember it's not that long ago, and I'm sure you remember it too, when Julian Assange was a hero of the left because he was exposing all these war crimes.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden he exposes some stuff about the Democratic establishment that they didn't want people to know about, and all of a sudden people on the so-called left,
public enemy number one, right?
Yeah, he's public enemy number one, and it's just like, well, wait a second, he's a publisher.
Never to me, never to you, and never to anybody who is a legitimate news person. But Ron, when you look at the news people who went after him, it's those people should have they shouldn't be allowed to work in the industry anymore.
I agree. I agree because the fact that you would not only are you just really thumbing your nose at a colleague in a way that is absolutely disgraceful, but you are pretty much throwing your entire industry under the bus, and you're basically saying that journalistic integrity doesn't matter if you're not willing to, speak out for this person and speak out for the freedom of the press.
You sell yourself out. And unfortunately we're not holding their feet to the fire by people are still watching them, and giving them ratings.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are to the best of their ability. It's just they don't have the megaphone that these mega corporations have. And, you know, it's very alarming. I mean, one of the things that comes to my mind first is that NPR segment with Glenn Greenwald, where the NPR reporter just set it up in such a baiting and corporate media approved way, where they said that Glenn Greenwald is Julian Assange's friend, which they don't know each other. That's not, I mean, they're colleagues to an extent, but they're not, it's not like they're besties or anything. But they were trying to sell this narrative that, like, oh, Glenn's just sticking up for a friend. And Glenn Greenwald is saying, I don't know why you're saying I'm some close confidant or anything like that. I'm none of those things. I'm just somebody who understands what freedom of the press is and understand a ridiculous thing when I see it. And he basically had to educate this so-called reporter on why the charges against Julian Assange were completely bogus. Had to give this guy a basic crash course on what a journalist is and isn't allowed to do according to the laws of the United States and a lot of international laws. I mean, basically, if a hacker gives someone information, like gives a journalist information, and the journalist publishes it, that's not a crime. And the journalist can say, hey, this is good. Can you get me some more of this? That is not a crime. Now, if the journalist says, let me help you illegally hack something, and they do, that's a crime. Like, according to United States law, that's a crime. And that's what they're trying to get Julian Assange for, but there's no evidence that he ever did anything like that. And Glenn Greenwald had to explain this to a so-called reporter. If you don't know those rules and you're a journalist, how the hell did you get to become a journalist?
So where's Julian Assange being housed right now?
Well, I think he's still in Belmarsh, and unless something changed recently, but he's still in Belmarsh. And last I heard, they're not going to go back into court until Monday because they're concerned. I guess they're concerned someone might have been exposed to COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, or, I mean, hey, who knows, man? Maybe it's as simple as the prosecution is realizing they're bullshitting everyone and people might not buy it, so they got to get a stronger attack on. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. But, you know, when you look at, you know, when I discussed what had happened so far with Taylor, I mean, it was just jaw-dropping. Where I was like, they're really trying to sell that? That's what they're trying to sell. That's what the prosecution is trying to sell. That's unbelievable. The defense should be able to shred that to pieces, and hopefully they do. Hopefully he's surrounding himself with not just good lawyers, but the right ones who are going to do the job right. And, you know, he gets released. I mean, that's what you hope for. But, I mean, at this point, it is just so freaking absurd. Who knows how all this is going to end.
Let me ask you a question totally off of that. When Bill Clinton was getting in trouble in the Oval Office with Monica Lewinsky, there was a special prosecutor who took over that. I think it was James Watts, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure of the guy's name. When a president does something illegal, there's a special prosecutor that works for the government that represents the people that is supposed to file charges. Do we not have those anymore?
That's a good question. It doesn't seem like it, right? I mean, it really doesn't seem like it. Because, I mean, there's been nobody. And let's, you know, going on what you're saying, let's keep in mind, if Julian Assange were to have a trial in the United States, there is a less than 0% chance. There is a negative % chance that he will be given anything resembling a fair trial because they're using the Espionage Act, which at its barest essence means they can do this all behind closed doors. So, I mean, the public isn't even going to be taken into account in any of this. And it's going to be behind closed doors. There's going to be all these random charges that we're not even going to know all the details on. And they're essentially going to be able to set it up to get their way, which their way would be that they throw this guy in jail for the rest of his life.
No accountability, no guilt.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, I mean, I hope they don't, I hope they don't extradite him here. I mean, I know there's some people who think like, oh no, if he goes to the United States, it'll be fair. Like, no, it won't be. I'm sorry, it won't be fair at all. It won't even be close. So, I mean, I really hope he doesn't get extradited. I hope they realize they just have to release him.
Right.
So
totally.
we gotta wrap this up soon.
Oh, well, I know. When you and I were talking before, I told you I was going to ask you this, so here it is. Did you see the footage from the Pentagon that shows the UFOs? That the guys in the real fast planes were. Did you see the video footage of that at all?
I think I did. Was that the stuff that one of the cable networks released? I mean, there was that stuff where
They're released by everybody. Because the Pentagon released it. So it's on Fox, it's on CBS, it's on MSNBC, it's on CNN, it's on all the big major networks.
Yeah, and then there was that series that Tom DeLonge did from Blink-182.
What about that? What about that series?
No, so there's a series that he kind of oversaw, and I think it had all that same footage. So anyway, I mean, the answer to your question is yes. I saw what you're talking about.
Yes.
Like, what the hell is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I want you to check out Thunderfoot. I mentioned him before with 2 zeros for foot. Thunder F00T Thunderfoot on YouTube. And I want you to check out. He does debunking videos. They're fantastic. He's very entertaining. Check out the debunking. He's got part 1, part 2, part 3, Pentagon UFO. Check out those 3. Okay. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to be like, you're going to laugh because he's funny, man. And he makes it really funny. And because, comedy's right up your alley. So, okay, enough of the UFO talk. Let's keep going. I've only got 5 more questions. It's lightning round. All right. How's your neck feeling with the triage oil?
A lot better. Yeah, thanks. No, I mean, I'm dead serious, dude. Like, I for anyone who doesn't know, I got in a car accident in 2013. My vehicle was totaled, so I got sideswiped by a big ass truck, and I was in a little 03 Elantra, but my neck, I didn't have good health insurance. Go figure, USA. And so I didn't go to a chiropractor or anything like that. My neck has just kind of not been the same ever since. And yeah, your oil really helps it a lot. Like, I started putting it on my neck, and I noticed a difference in the way I was able to sleep. I noticed a difference in like just being mobile with it, and like it not getting stiff as often. I mean, it still happens some. I don't think it'll ever be totally fine, especially as I get older, but it's it's come a long way. So thank you for asking.
Okay, so I'm gonna just tell people how to make it really fast. It's only 3 ingredients. If you want to make an ounce like this, an ounce jar, you put 98% coconut oil, 1% peppermint oil, and then if you have a dab rig, now not a bong, but a dab rig that you're using concentrate, you would scrape 15 drops of this out of your dabber. It's already decarboxylated. It's already activated at 275 degrees. And then you mix this with a little bit of that coconut oil. You just take some of that coconut oil out and you mix it together and make it like soupy. Put it in here, get it warm, shake it up, and then you got it. It's that easy. It's only 3 ingredients. Everybody can make it. And while Ron, you wore my shirt the other day on that interview with that girl that we were just talking about. Actually, you wore my shirt on that interview. Thank you for doing that. The message is really not the triage oil per se. It's the fact that the secret's out and everybody has access to this. And if you have just cannabis, you can make it yourself. And that's the message. Everybody can make this themselves. And on my website, I actually, on naysgarden.com, I teach everybody how to make it. It's free information, of course. So next one is, are you still drive a car?
Yes.
What kind of a vehicle do you drive?
I have a 2016 Hyundai Elantra.
Oh, nice, man. Those are actually, I drove one of those not too long ago, and I was really impressed with it. Actually, it's a very nice vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked pretty too.
My wife is due for a new vehicle, and we're shooting for an electric car. So.
Oh, cool. cool, man. Great.
Yeah, so we're gonna get an electric. You know, we're trying to do the best we can, and so yeah, we're gonna try to get an electric car, and then hopefully sooner than later we'll have totally electric.
Okay, I'm making this short for you. I'm cutting you off because I know you don't. There's only 3 questions left. I know you're in a hurry.
worries.
Okay.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. The third to the last question is: did you learn anything in high school you still find useful today?
Yeah, I did. Let me try to think of some good ones. I had an argument and debate class that really served me well, and then I took argumentation again in grad school, and yeah, it really served me well, like for creating content, like just understanding the basic of arranging terms and how argumentation really works. So that all started in high school, and I really enjoyed it. Like I made like a tournament and stuff. So that was a useful thing I learned in high school that I went further with in grad school. And let's see, what else did I mean, I learned like basic math, like accounting and stuff like that in high school. And I think I started really appreciating literature in high school. Well, no, actually, I would say middle school. So yeah,
you were
I
reading
can't give that.
early on.
I learned to appreciate literature in middle school. It took, and it was because I had a really, really good English teacher when I was in like 6th and 7th grade and 8th grade. And so I really learned to love literature.
Huh.
So I can't credit high school for that. That happened a little bit beforehand. But I didn't really love the school part until college. Like I didn't like when I was in grade school and high school, there were some things I liked, there were some elements I liked, but overall I hated school.
Right.
But come college, I really liked school. And yeah, so I can't give high school credit for that, even though there were some parts of high school that I did genuinely like. But.
Cool, man. That's a cool answer. So, speaking about school, were you the class clown in any of your classes?
So in 8th grade, I actually was crowned the class clown in the school yearbook. But
nailed it.
The funny thing is though, is I wasn't a bad kid. Like I wasn't like misbehaved necessarily. So it was weird. It was kind of weird to me that I got it. Like I wasn't expecting to get it. I thought someone else would. Because I wasn't like a kid who was in trouble often.
No, Ron, you know what it was? You know what it was? You sniped some zingers, bro. You sniped some zingers. Yeah, you got him in there.
Yeah, like I was surprised I got it. Because usually like class clown has a negative, like, oh,
no,
you're like the big bad.
I never looked at class clown as something negative. Ever. I always thought that was a compliment for people. Isn't that funny?
I feel like most people do, though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I remember because when I got it, my dad was like kind of not upset by it, but he was kind of like, "Oh, why did you?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm surprised that I got it because if I'm being totally honest with you, like, yeah, I joked around a lot in class, but whenever I did it, the teacher was laughing too." So, like, I'm kind of surprised that I got this accolade. So, yeah. But
And that's
anyway,
it, though. Comedy is universal. It's a universal language, man. Everybody laughs. It doesn't matter their age.
But then in high school, I was a little more quiet in high school. Like, in high school, I wasn't as out. I mean, I don't want to say I wasn't outgoing. Like, I had friends and stuff, and I was a social guy. But in high school, I was a little more, like, just to myself and just like kind of finding my niche. And I was like one of the, I was just kind of like the punk rock skater kid who played in a band and stuff. And, I liked Adderall a lot in high school. So I would buy that from
really? So no, tell me about that.
I was one of those guys.
What was that like?
Guys, yeah.
Is Ben Shapiro on that? You think Ben Shapiro's on it or Donald?
I have no idea.
Trump?
I didn't need it. I used it for leisure. That was bad.
Is it like methamphetamine though? It's like speed?
Yeah, it's like speed, and I loved it in high school. It made it more tolerable for me. And
Did it
this
make you
was
talk
back when
fast?
they-
Ron, do you have any recordings of you? Like, did you ever make a recording of yourself? And you're like, oh my God, I'm talking way too fast.
Dude, I would never be able to find these recordings, but what I would do is I would try to write songs, and the songs were just shitty as fuck. Like I'd be playing like I would just be playing
Adderall,
like a
okay, check.
1/4
Adderall influenced songs suck. Cannabis influenced songs rock.
For me.
Me too, I would
can't,
think.
I can't. There might be some people that write great songs on Adderall. I just was not one of them.
Right.
But I would. It was one of those things, and I know you're a guitar player too. So I would play like a 1 to the 4, and I would think I invented it. I would play a G chord and then a C chord, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Yeah, it's one of the most common chord progressions in the world since the history of sound. That's why it's beautiful. And you can do a million beautiful things with it, don't get me wrong. But I would just play those 2 chords and then just go, ah, and I'm like, this is so great. And then I'd listen back to it and I'd be like, oh, Jesus, erase this. But this was back when you could still do that. This was back when kids would, high school kids, like my peers, they would fake having ADD so they could get a prescription so that they could just sell their Adderall to assholes like me. And then eventually the adults caught on what we were doing.
Wow.
And they ended a fun thing, damn it. But yeah, I was one of those kids. So I was that kid. I was the kid that would I was never out of control with it.
You weren't, were you snorting? Were you snorting it? Or are you just taking the pills?
No, I would just go to the water fountain, pop them in my mouth, take them like a pill.
Okay.
I was never that, but I would take more than you should have because I was using it to get a buzz. I wasn't using it because I needed it. I didn't need it. So, I was using it to get buzzed. And, it's not like I was doing it every day or anything like that. And eventually I just stopped doing it. I just outgrew it. But yeah, I was one of those kids. And so I was a little more like just kind of to myself in class and stuff like that. I mean, I talked when it was appropriate. I mean, I was active in the debate class and stuff like that, but I wasn't, I wasn't what you would deem a class clown. So.
Man, Ron, thank you so much for you just have really brought so much today to the show, and I've got really good news for you actually. Even though we only broadcast this to Facebook, which is one channel, I recorded it to my hard drive. It's also recorded to Facebook. I'm gonna play it back on all of my channels when I get it fixed. As soon as we get as soon as Restream is running again, I'll go ahead and I'll do a live broadcast of this as a pre-recorded. And also, you notice I've got the cannabis hanging here behind me on the wall.
I see it. Yeah.
I thought maybe at the end of the show I wanted to just show you one of these cola tops, because every time people come to the garden, they see the plants out there growing, but it's not often you actually get to see one of them after it's been cut down. And this is one of them right here. This is gonna.
Beautiful.
It's
man.
called Sweet Afghani Delicious. This strain.
Oh,
And once these
nice.
leaves and the smell, it's really strong and fragrant and beautiful and fruity and fresh smelling. It's gonna be a very uplifting. It's a daytime smoke, and the effects only last for 20 minutes to a half hour, and then they fade as just very quickly. So if you like smoking cannabis all day, that's the kind of strain you can smoke all day, and you don't have to worry about it knocking you out like what you were talking about when you were younger.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking at my cannabis. Now, is there anything that you want to promote at the end of the show? You want to go ahead and just go over your places where people can find you?
Sure, yeah. That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Ron Falcone. That's probably the social media platform I'm most active on, but I'm at Twitter, or at Ron Falcone on Twitter. Same with Instagram, just at Ron Falcone. YouTube.com/Ron Falcone. That's where you can catch my show. And then ronfalcone.com, where you can find my webcomic, Lucy and Ron, which you can also find that. It's just lucyandron.com. And yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm online.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was 2 hours, brother. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right.
That was a lot of fun. It's always a good time. Thank you.
Okay, well, maybe another time you'll come back.
Of course.
Okay, man. Great.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
Be well, man.
All right.
Peace.
Bye-bye. All right, man. So, let's close this window here and it says, are we still good? We still live? Are we still live, guys? It's not showing me. Oh yeah, we're still live? Okay, great. I can't see how many people are watching. Great show. Shelly says yes. Okay, cool. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me take a little break. I'll be right back, okay? So, there's a little bit of sunshine outside, man. It's nice. A little bit of sunshine. Yep, we're live. Managed to stream to TV through Apple TV, even though I hate. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I just realized my sound was off. I'm sorry. I'm laughing my ass off when you said that should be so funny if they both came back at the same time. I had my sound off. That's all I said was, and I said I just took Rogan over for a walk, and then he was pining to go over to the neighbors. He really wanted to go there really bad. I could tell he was just like, oh, it was so sad, man. So, I put him in the Rockster and I took him to the neighbor's house, and the labs were out there, and he just he was so happy, and my buddies were out there. I hung out with them for a bit, and we talked for quite some time. You both came back. I know we both came back at the same time. I know that was funny when you said that. You're like, it'd be funny. The interview was better the second time around. Oh, right on. Double break. Nice long interview. Great interview. Replying. Probably rosin pressing while we watched the interview. No, I was at the neighbor's house.
Damn, Talk Boy when I was young. This is an awesome show. Love it. Nay is a badass guitar player. That's so funny. I was the class clown later. I keep thinking Frankie McDonald action figure is Nay. Your brightness is turned. I have been preaching what's inside of Federal to everyone out and about. Where did they go? Great question. Was in the middle of the road. I would speed up. I love watching a lot of these streamers. What's your opinion on Candace Owens? I think she's a horrible person. Candace Owens is a horrible person. She's, you know, slightly intelligent, and she uses what little intelligence she has to throw everyone under the bus. It doesn't even make sense. You know, she doesn't make sense. She's just kind of like a mystery to me, man. You know, and she's got really beady eyes. She's got really beady. I don't trust people with beady eyes at all. She's got a very rodent look about her. She reminds me of a rat or a, you know, a mouse or some kind of a fucking foraging creature, you know, some mammal, some sort of rodent. The new trendy lighter is the shits, Randy. Did you put a sticker on a lighter? I'm sorry, man. I know my my camera has moved over to the side. If I do this, I'll look more towards the camera. I see my Bell's palsy is kicking in with the old crooked face today. Maybe you guys had fun watching that though? You guys had fun with the interview. I'm glad. Let me refresh the chat since I did go through and read it all, and we'll just make sure the numbers are accurate. Yeah, there's 20 of you watching. That's amazing. John and Daphne Holland. She does. Ha ha. I got a tweet out there. That is currently it is there's a tweet out there that is promoting this live stream right now. She's in your house, Nay. I put it through again. Just let me know if it doesn't work. I put sticker on my lighter. I put a sticker on everything. You're such a good boy. Did you have fun? Here, let me clean your face while you're right here. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, sorry. Did you have fun over there? Did you have fun? I'm gonna pick you up. I haven't done that in a while. I haven't picked you up in a while. My bees. My bees. Oh, my beezels are struggling. What's wrong, Beezle? Why are you struggling, huh? Mwah. Who's a baby boy? Who's the baby boy? My beezels are struggling. You want to get down? You want to get down? All right, I'll let you down, buddy. Ooh, there you go. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, buddy? Oh, you're coming back to attack me. You're coming back to show me how mean you are. You're a mean boy. I give you a kissy on your face. I tell you I love you. You're so beautiful. Such a pretty boy. Such a pretty boy, yeah. You're beautiful, doggy. Yes, you are. I'm going to move that camera over. You are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Look at you. Look how beautiful you are. You're really sweet to him. He's just like, he just loves you. You're so sweet. Look how pretty you are. You're gorgeous, boy. Why are you so gorgeous? You're so pretty. You're so pretty. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, boy. You're beautiful, boy. And very powerful and strong. And you can do what you want. Yes, you're very powerful and strong. This dog scares the fuck out of me, bro. No shit. There is just no denying that dog, when my face is right next to him, and I know that if that dog had a momentary lapse of instinctual rage, just snap. Oh yeah, sorry, I just had a little psychotic break for a second. Sorry. Oh yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh, did I bite your face off? Oh God. Yeah, I can do that within a fucking third of a second. I can literally bite your face off in a third of a second. Think about that. In less than a second, that dog can reach over, bite you, and be back like that, and forget, and totally just forget about it. Just like, yeah, so I fucking bit your face off. I don't give a fuck. I'm a dog. It's always in the back of my mind. He's so fucking cute, though. He's so cute, though. He's just so cute. So I bought a tweet tonight. You know that the YouTube banned me from super chatting. They say you're only allowed to do $500 worth of super chats a day. I'm like, well, you suck, man. I guess I should go back to doing $20 super chats. Start trying to drop down $100 bill bombs on people. I never knew Ron popped Adderall. Dude, when Ron talked about Adderall, I've got to say, I felt like we entered some kind of, I don't know, some kind of special untraversed Ron Placone territory. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's ever spoken about that before or not. But I was honored that he felt comfortable enough to bring it up, because this is a topic that I know nothing about. And I've heard a lot about that drug. And that's why I asked him if he felt like Ben Shapiro was on it, or that if the President of the United States was on it, because I wouldn't know. I really don't know. But it's just that Ben Shapiro, he just talks so fast, and his thoughts don't make complete sense. It's when you listen to Ben Shapiro talk, okay, I'm going to give you a perfect example. When you tell Ben Shapiro Black Lives Matter, he looks you right in the eye and says, oh, have you looked at black on black death rates? Do you realize that blacks kill way more people than police? Blacks kill way more black people than police do. He would look you right in the eye and say that. And you're like, yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, we know that, and we don't give a fuck. That's not the point. We don't have control over what goes on inside the home, Ben. We have control over what police are doing, and we want to stop it. Let's start with that at least, but you don't even want to look at that. You'd rather talk about your right-wing talking point. There's something wrong with your brain. Is it the Adderall? I don't know. You know? I don't know. John and Daphne Holland, a band? The fuck? Bite it clean off. Your damn heart can explode? I wouldn't know. I don't know anything about that drug. I know nothing about it. Man, that sweet Afghani delicious, the dabs have like a narcotic effect. Lefties just hate everything. Huh? Okay, Robert, I'm just gonna go ahead and block you from my live stream. Okay, you're not welcome here. We don't like liars here. That you just told a lie to me and my audience. You're a fucking idiot. You're not welcome here. And you can't just come into my live stream and tell a lie. That wouldn't be like me saying that all people who lean right are racist. That's not true. That's just not true. You know? So you're an idiot. You're a fucking hater. Go take your hate somewhere else, you fucking idiot. Go bash lefties somewhere else, you fucking idiot. You know, I have no patience for anybody that wants to come in here and try to bash a group of people because they're different or they have a different opinion than you. So go fuck yourself. So, yeah. Okay, Doc. So that's a bad drug, Adderall. You know, I don't do speed. I got into cocaine when I was younger, and I had a real problem with it. So I learned, you know, early on enough that things that make your heart race weren't good for me. Make America get along. That's right, Randy. I agree, buddy. I have taken Adderalls for me. It gave me the ability to focus and write well. Huh. Right on, hippie chick. I'm glad it worked for you. Ron Placone used it too. That's it. Block them. Oh yeah, Margie. I blocked them. You know, you can't come in here and bash Republicans. You can't come in here and bash lefties. And you're not going to lie. For sure. You're not going to come in here and tell a lie. I'm going to block you instantly. I'm going to slap you like the little bitch that you are for saying that. You know, just like when someone comes in and says something like, California deserves what it gets with these fires. It's karma. I'm going to block you. You're a douchebag. And number one. Number two, that's not true. You know, what about all the Republicans that live in this fucking state, you fucking idiot? You know, what about my neighbors that live right there, my next door neighbors that are Trump supporting Republicans? What about them, you fucking idiot? You know? You think it's only lefties that live in the state? God, what kind of a fucking moronic mentality hate requires? You know, there's a very low bar. It doesn't take much. You know, hate is like the lowest bar of intelligence levels. And I'm so glad to say that I'm so far past that point in my life. And I can see it. And that when I see it, I'm like Zeus with fucking bolts of lightning. Just, you know, just take that shit out instantly. You loved acid when you were young? Really? I really never would have thought that about you, Doc. Now, I tripped on acid. I did LSD. I did mushrooms, and I did mescaline. I did straight up LSD. All different kinds. Peyote. But I was experimenting, and what I found out, I did it enough times to know that I just didn't want to do it anymore. And at one point in my life, I started saying no to it. When my friends would do it, and I would be like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm good. Then I got into ecstasy when I was older. And, hey, Cocaine Barrett, what's up, buddy? And I used ecstasy for a while. And I was dating somebody. I was dating a woman that... she liked it. When I first met her, she was really into it. She got me into it. I had done it before. I was like, I was a little hesitant to start doing it again. And I was like, well, with her, we would do it every once in a while. It became more than a once in a while thing. It started to become like, hey, you want to do it next weekend type thing again. And then one day I said to her, you know, I feel like every time, and I don't believe in souls. I don't believe humans have souls. But I said this to her. I said, I feel like every time we use ecstasy that we lose a piece of our soul that we never get back. I feel like we're paying a price for this that is an ultimate price. And I think we should stop. And she was like, you know, I agree. And we both agreed and we stopped doing it. We stopped doing ecstasy, you know. She was an amazing woman. She still is. She still is an amazing woman. She channeled that energy. She became a musician, which she had never done. She picked up bass guitar and she plays bass guitar in a bluegrass band now. Pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm glad I stopped doing hardcore drugs a long time ago. They were not taking me anywhere I really wanted to go. You know, at first it was exciting and, you know, you can only do this with your hand and see, you know, you go like this and see your hand go like that and do this. You can only do that so many times and then you're like, okay, so it's going to do that, right? And then if I do that, it's going to do that. Okay. At what price am I doing my brain so I can see this effect on things? And see, you know, and see the wall go like this, melt a little bit, you know, or look at a pattern and watch the pattern breathe, you know, or have thoughts in my mind that I really should not ever be having. It puts holes in your brain. Yeah, right? Right? I think I've got enough holes in my brain. If you guys are enjoying this conversation, press number 5. Give me a high five. Let's see if we can get the chat up to 1,000 chats today. What do you guys say? You love bluegrass? How many fives can I get? 1960. 5, 5, 5, 5. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na, dan-dan, ban, ban, ba-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-dan, dan, dan-dan, bow, wow, 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 bum, bum, bow, wow, 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 bum, bum, bow, wow, 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 bum, bum, bow, wow, 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 yeah, ba-na-na, bow, ba-na-na, bow, ba-na-na, now, give me that, bow, wow, ba-na-na, bow, ba-na-na, bow. Where is the numbers at? Give me that, wow, give me that, wow. Huh, it's so weird, I can't see the numbers. I extra like your show. Yep, it does. I was about to say that. David C. Baker, Enoch, David C. Baker, Randy, Margie, Megsy, Hippie, Debbie, David, Enoch, Megsy, John. I cannot get the chat to show up for some reason here. Oh, it's so weird. What is going on with that? Let me hit reset on it. Oh, the window source changed. I see the problem. Bow. Oh, that was the wrong thing, wasn't it? What's that? Psst. Psst, Unreal, pal. That's the wrong thing. Nobody does it like that anymore. What? You don't even know what you're doing. Psh, Unreal, pal. Psst. Oh, there it is. There it is. We got the chat back. I am so happy. We got the chat back. I am so happy. Psst, whatever. Nobody even does that anymore, pal. Psh. I only found one YouTube playing. Let me check YouTube. I just happen to have it open already. Huh. Huh. Wow, this channel is showing nothing. Let me just hit subscriptions. Do you believe the government's ABC News? You are right. I'm not showing on YouTube. Am I a Manson fan? A fan? What kind of a question is that, bro? Oh, Marilyn Manson, right? Marilyn Manson. Yes, I am. Yes. God, that was fucking funny, dude. There's a joke in there somewhere. Dude, I'm not seeing any of my YouTube channels. Here, let me type in Naze Garden on YouTube. I'm not seeing live on anything on YouTube, bro. What is going on? I can use my words more. Wait. Let me go to my dashboard and just make sure I'm broadcasting those channels. This doesn't make sense at all. Why wouldn't I be broadcasting to YouTube right now? I'm green. No, man, I'm green on all my YouTubes. I'm green on all my YouTubes. All of them. Except for the main channel, of course. They're all green and I got people on them all. Dude, even Twitch has people. Even Twitch, even Periscope, everything is working right now. That's really healthy all of a sudden. If you're on Twitch, let me know. If you're watching on DLive, let me know. It says nobody's watching on DLive. If you're watching on Periscope, let me know. I want to see you and I want to hear from you guys. If you're on Periscope, if you're on Twitch, where are you guys? If you're on those different YouTube channels, if you're on those Facebook channels, let me hear from you guys. Say hello. David C. Baker sent me a heart. John says, yeah, I just love Charlie. Dude, that's why I was like, that was all I thought about when you said Manson. I thought of Charles Manson killing a bunch of people. I was like, who would be a fan of the Mansons? Melissa Robles. Hey, Melissa. Randy Church is on Twitch. He's twitching around on Twitch. He's still twitching on Twitch. Megsy's on Facebook. Debbie's on Facebook. Margie's giving me a peace sign from Facebook. That's good. Okay, it says we've got 22 viewers. I'm here, son. Yo, son, I'm over here now. Yo, Joe Rogan, I got a joke for Joey. Listen to this. Hey, Joe Rogan, listen to this joke I got. I got a joke. Listen to this. You ready? Kat says there's no sound on YouTube. There should be. I think Doc can hear me on YouTube. David C. Baker Jr. is on Facebook, everybody. Hey, Joe Rogan. Hey, fucking Joe Rogan. Listen to this. Hey, we gotta go get a little green tea and calm down the situation. Hey, Joey Joseph. Hey, dude, this has been a 3-hour video. I literally went to my neighbors and hung out, man, while this video was going. It's so funny. I did miss the live show because I don't have Facebook. Oh, you don't have Facebook. That sucks, bro. You should, man. You should have Facebook, bro. You should be following me on Facebook, bro. I told everybody, man. Follow me on all forms, sources, and sorts of social media. Don't be lazy, man. Go do it. I got 6 channels on Facebook. Follow all 6 of them. There's all kinds of material on those Facebooks, bro, that you've never seen before. You know, all my social media carries all different stuff. My Instagram is different than my Twitter, is different from my Facebook, is different from my YouTube. And my YouTube channel is different from my YouTube channel, is different from my YouTube channel. Add that 21 times, and then my Facebook channels are all having different stuff on them too. So, all of them do carry the live show, hopefully. No, man, it was just we had a technical glitch with Restream today. No matter what I did, I could not connect to their servers appropriately enough to bring up a live stream. When I went straight to Facebook, it ran fine. So I went to Facebook, I did it, I said I'll just upload it later, you know. I'll make a recording of it, I'll upload it later, and here it is. Been following on all media since day one, son. What? Psst, unreal. Autistic grandson's therapy dog. Right, you said that. Yeah, when you deactivate your Facebook, you can reactivate it, right? Just so you get notified on my Facebook when I'm live and stuff, just for the notification. And for an emergency, and if I decide to go down in that grow and do a live broadcast from there, I'll go to that Facebook channel and do it. You will find broadcasts on that channel that are not anywhere else. That's the main channel, the Dab Rig channel. The one of me doing a dab, but there's 6 channels, all with my real name. You'll find all 6. It's the one where I'm wearing black, and I got a black scarf on my head, like a pirate. Like a pirate. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed the 3-hour extravaganza show. A big thank you and a shout out to Ron Placone for making the show possible. He makes this show possible with his positivity and his mentoring. Whether he realizes it or not, he's been mentoring me for years. Please check out Ron Placone. Give him love and support and let him know that I sent you guys. I am in contact with him. We are chatting with each other. It's wonderful. You know, it's like we've become friends, man, and it's really cool. So, I'll keep you guys, you know, informed on that little bit of information. It's nice, man. All right. You guys take care. No law regarding cannabis. And go check out my website. It's called naysgarden.com. If you haven't gone to the website, go check it out. I'm going to be updating it soon with this video right here. This video needs to go up with, you know, with the title, you know, Ron Placone in the Garden Part 2. Bye, guys. And I had the capacity. I'm not tired. I had the capacity to go 5-6 hours tonight. I want you guys to know, because there's only 17 people. In the future, when you see it drop in under 25 people watching and you want the show to keep going, start sharing it in large groups. That should just be a, you know, keep your eye on that number. If you see it get under 25 and it's, you know, and it's over an hour, you guys should consider just taking the initiative and going into large groups on Facebook and start sharing this. It's really the only way you're going to get people here. All right. Thanks, guys.